welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on the forum.
And this is Parker. Go by Dr. Mantis Toboggan, MD, on the forums.
This is Jeremy. I have started a brand new MySpace page. It's Jeremy MySpace / Yahoo.MySpace. MySpace.
Who's in your top 8?
Metallica.
Just Tom?
No.
Okay.
Metallica.
Did you boot that guy?
I have music in the
like
background, which is really popular on websites. I didn't know if you knew about that. It's a song I
like. The music I like that auto plays is when it auto plays with no mute button at max volume. That's my favorite auto play music. Oh, I don't even care what type of music it is, as long as it's loud and unstoppable. That's all I care about.
A punch to the face.
Yeah. I want it to literally rip my eardrums from my body and shred them in front of my eyes.
Yep, at work.
While also advertising to everyone within 900 miles of my computer that I'm a dipshit.
At a doctor's office. Absolutely.
Yeah. My favorite is when you're in a waiting room at a doctor's office, some guy gets bored and he pulls out his tablet and he unlocks it and it goes back to auto playing the porn he was watching and he's like, shit! It's like moaning as loud as it goes.
How many times has that happened to you, Brandon?
It depends on what waiting room you're in.
4.
So anyway, back to Jeremy's point. I heard an interesting counterpoint to MySpace and everyone making fun of it. And it doesn't make sense because if you look back, all Tom wanted to do was be your friend, and Zuckerberg wanted to literally ruin your life. So it's like we traded him for like a nice guy for literally the devil. So
Tom wanted to be your
maybe
friend.
We should just go back to MySpace.
Yeah, Tom wanted to be a friend, and Zuckerberg wanted to crash your party with all his friends.
Yeah. All right. So moving into announcements. First announcement, Parker. You're down to 630 probationary episodes.
Woohoo!
Good. Working those off real good.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have a wheeling and dealing section later today where you can wager probationary episodes and maybe get that number down.
Ooh, stay tuned, true believers.
A wheel of fish?
No. Oh. More like a wager.
Oh, well that sounds cool.
I don't know how Wheel of Fish enters into it.
What is a Wheel of Fish?
I don't know.
It's from UHF. UHF, man. Weird Al Yankovic. It's a movie.
It's been too long for me. I don't remember. All I remember from UHF is he put on the Rambo bandana, I think.
Mm-hmm. He did a lot of cool stuff. Anyway, there's a Wheel of Fish. And you could spin it and win different fish.
All right. So Parker, take us into it.
All right. We got news.
News.
All right, first bit of news. Brandon's long wait is finally over. He's coming, and you can't stop him. He's the unstoppable juggernaut. Kane Marco is on his way, finally, to MCP. I think when did they spoil him? 4-5 years ago? Something like that is when they said they were becoming...
No, yeah. This was in the his card wasn't revealed, but yeah,
right.
It was in the mini caster palooza. I don't know, the thing they did.
So yeah, we know what his card is official on the panel to play. He is 8 health on both sides. He's a big boy. He's 5 points. He moves short, but don't let that fool you. We'll get there in a second. He is size 4. His stats actually vary fairly wildly on both sides because when the magic helmet comes off, then of course he has different stats. But his front side is 4, 3, 5, and his backside is 4, 3, 2. So he loses 3 Mystic Defense on the backside because his helmet comes off, and then Professor X can Mind Blast him. Then he does have a 5 dice 2-range strike that gives him power for damage dealt and Wild Push. That it is any character, so it's a character size. He does have another physical attack. It's a Spender. It's also range 2. It's 7 dice for 4 power, and it has a Wild Rush. After the attack is resolved, if it is during his activation, he immediately may make a Nothing Stops the Juggernaut superpower without paying the cost. And before we talk about his attack, let's jump to that real fast and make sure you understand what that does. So, Nothing Stops the Juggernaut says this character is pushed short. If it does not stop its movement, if it contacts a size 3 or smaller terrain feature, instead the terrain feature is removed. So he pushes right through it and it is destroyed. If the character contacts one or more other characters, once contacted, the character that it hits suffers 1 damage, and this character stops immediately. A character can be damaged by the superpower only once per turn. If this character has the stagger special condition, it immediately loses it. That costs 3 power, but if you get the wild on I'm the Juggernaut, his spender, it costs nothing. Notice that it does not say that he can only do this superpower once per turn, so he can Nothing Stops the Juggernaut, and also I'm the Juggernaut and get a rush. So he can Nothing Stops the Juggernaut.
Or he could just use Nothing Stops the Juggernaut 3 consecutive times.
Right. However, it is a push, which interacts with one of his other abilities later on in his card. Do we want to stop here for a second, take a breath? You guys want to talk about it? Okay.
We haven't talked about that other stuff yet. So yeah, I am a little annoyed that he can't break through size 4 stuff, because saying nothing stops him and then literally listing a thing that stops him in the first, in the second sentence of the ability, I find a little annoying, but they gave it a shot, I guess.
I think it's mostly just because there are buildings in this game, and I guess they didn't want him to have the ability to just disintegrate them.
It says interactive terrain feature, so that would stop that.
That's
you
true.
could just say the size 5s are non-interactable, and that would have been fine.
Right.
That we also know for a fact, due to spoilers, that they're coming out with non-interactive terrain features that are size 4. So I think that would be fine. Just say, just clarify these are non-interactable, and it wouldn't be breakable. But anyway, this is clearly an amazing ability. Anything that lets you move out of activation.
Mm-hmm.
It also doesn't take up an action. He can do it several times in a turn. He can deal damage to multiple characters without attacking them. All of these are good abilities. The only question is 3 power too much? Or is the 4 power cost on I'm the Juggernaut going to prevent him from using it on a regular basis?
Something to note is folks like the Hulk, who has the place ability, who places within range 2, I believe, isn't that how he works?
Yes.
It does. One of the things that does stop the Hulk is a lamppost. So if you can actually you can prevent the Hulk from getting exactly what he wants by having certain terrain in the way, whereas and he has to spend 3 power to do it. But as the Juggernaut, he just goes, and unless you said, it's a large thing, he just blows right through it. It's much more difficult to stop the Juggernaut from doing that thing he wants to do if he really wants to get close to you.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and finish up his superpowers, and then we'll finish talking about him.
Because he's very much he's a very cohesive character. A lot of things work together.
Yeah, there's a lot of interworking parts.
Right. He has a superpower called Nice Punch. It costs 1. It immediately reduces the amount of damage he takes by 1. He has the passive superpower called Helmet on his healthy side only. This character cannot be pushed or advanced by the special effects of enemy mystic attacks or enemy superpowers. Again, you can't take him over his mind while his helmet is on. And his last ability is Unstoppable Momentum. After this character resolves a move action during its activation, it immediately gains 2 power. The next attack made by this character, this activation adds 3 dice to the attack roll. This character can be affected by the superpower only once per turn. He's also immune to stun.
Yeah. Jeremy, do you want to jump in here? Because I got a lot to say.
Go ahead. He's your boy.
Okay.
Yeah, you're excited.
So yeah, I'm very excited. The Unstoppable Momentum at first glance looks like a very important part of his kit. And I think that it is a very important part of his kit, but it's actually his second most important ability. Helmet is the most important ability. Having a size 4 character that can't be pushed or advanced by mystic attacks or superpowers means that you're going to be on a point, because there's very few things that interact with him in a way that can get him off of a point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only on his healthy side, but turns out that's the side that matters when it comes to playing this game. It doesn't matter that it's not on his backside, because when he's not healthy, he's not going to contest a point. So Helmet is incredibly effective when combined with a size 4 model, because not many people can throw size 4 at this point, and they've just changed the game to make that even more true than it's ever been.
Yeah.
As far as being a scenario-based character, we just talked about he's got a non-action ability that lets him move and also break terrain. That's also going to be very important for scenario play. And then he's got damage reduction, and it can reduce damage to 0, meaning that he's going to be able to stay on his healthy side for a very long time if you want him to. Obviously, he's going to synergize amazingly well with Magneto because of his Nothing Stops the Juggernaut breaking terrain, which is going to trigger Magneto's leadership to give out even more power, which is going to keep him fueled up, which is going to keep him reducing damage and keep him moving on to points. And so I think all of this is great. His offensive potential is just whatever to me. Like, it's bonus. Because this guy is basically a 5-point scenario holder. Which I think is partially what Brotherhood needed. They didn't need it to be a 5-pointer, but they needed somebody that was an immovable object. Because too many of their people are movable or too expensive.
I think another thing that Juggernaut does, which is like not on his card, is the Unstoppable Momentum says, when I move, automatically gain 2 power and gain 3 dice for attack roll. Another way to read that is, if I sacrifice my attack action, get 3 dice on another attack. Basically, very quickly do a 3 dice attack after I move, and get 2 power as if I hit and did 2 damage.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about like the curve of the game, one of the only ways to gain power during your turn is usually to do damage. And gaining 2 power from an attack feels great. So Juggernaut gets to move, gain 2 power like he did 2 damage, and then add 3 dice to his other attack, which is like doing a 3 dice attack. Although it could be more if you spiked hard. It's actually better because your opponent won't be able to roll their 4 defense, their 4 physical defense against those 3 dice. You've got to roll 4 physical defense against 8 dice if he just basically uses his strike. So I think you're exactly right. I think it's a fantastic scenario piece. I think any force that has the ability to spend 5 points on him and needs somebody to be in the front, being immovable, right? I think this is going to be a great choice. But I actually disagree. I think his offensive potential is a lot more than it looks like, because over the course of the game, he's going to be gaining more power and doing more attacks than another character that has to move to attack. Is he as good or efficient as a charge character? Well, no. But is he more efficient than somebody who has to spend 1 move action every time to get close? So much more efficient. I think it's...
So when I said that I don't think his offense is important, I didn't think it was not good. I think his offense is high.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's the important part of his kit. That's just extra.
True.
But it's obviously very good at damage, I think. Because... it also, his strike being able to push people and his spender triggering rush are both really good. And like you said, we're not really used to consistent 8 dice attacks that cost nothing. Like, that's not a thing in the game right now. Like, we don't see people doing 8 dice builders without spending something for it, and he does that. And in addition to that, the 8 dice attack means that the push is going to be really consistently happening. So yeah, I'm pretty surprised. I don't know. I don't think he's broken or anything, but he seems like... I don't think people are going to look at his card initially and see what all he's going to be doing, because you have a bruiser-type character that is immune to stun, pseudo-immune to staggered, effectively immune to control, and then also is extremely mobile and damaging. Like, it's a weird combination of abilities.
Jeremy, do you take him before another 5-pointer in your faction? I think you might.
I don't know. I just keep looking at him and I see him in Criminals and can't drop the idea. Yeah. Like, he is just so stupid in Criminals. He makes that crazy 14-point list. MODOK plus him plus Kingpin, and you're like, how do you what do you do if that gets dropped on you at 14 and they're playing Criminals?
I think a lot of people don't realize how mobile he is either. Like we talk about playing like Mayor Fisk and Terrigen all the time. He can cross the gap and still hit somebody. Like, if he has 10 power, he can Nothing Stops the Juggernaut, advance, Nothing Stops the Juggernaut 3 more times, and then hit you for 8 dice with a push. Like, that's game-changing scenario play. Like, that's a silly amount of movement on one character. Because it's effectively 5 short moves on a large base. What the fuck? Like, he's going to go literally across the board.
Yeah, I like him. He's a 5-point model that isn't like other 5-point models, which is cool. It's really interesting how they build these characters to be so different, even though, I mean, the mechanics are kind of the same.
Yeah. Also, keep in mind, during that 5 short moves, he can hand out 4 damage to people.
Right. That was the last thing I was going to say about him that we didn't mention, which is one of the things we talk about as being so premium in this game is being able to do damage to somebody without rolling dice. Because you're like, that guy has 1 health left. Bump, he's gone. Like, just, he's gone. so many abilities in this game right now that deal 1 or 2 damage you have to roll dice for, and the fact that he just does it is great. Compare this to like Omega Red that has to, jump through a bit of a Rube Goldberg machine to make his automatic damage come off, and he just does it so proactively. It's going to be really strong.
So I think this might be a bit of a stretch, but I can very easily see it getting worded this way. So let's say there's a model standing close to Juggernaut, very close to Juggernaut. He advances, moves to the far side of them, but ends in base contact with them. Then declares he's using Nothing Stops the Juggernaut as his superpower. Starts his movement in contact with the character he just walked past, and pushes him short directly away from the character he started in contact with. Mm-hmm. He contacted that character during the push, correct?
If this character,
because the distance between them was 0 during the push.
Yeah.
That's like a War Machine, like gotcha mechanic.
Well, however, if you follow the rule of it, it says if he did do that, he would immediately stop right there, because it says
okay. So the character contacts one more characters with conscious characters,
then this character stops.
Normal.
So okay. I think if you rule it that way and you say, oh, I'm on the backside moving away from this character, so I contacted him, then you'd also just stop right there. I think is what this says.
You're right. That's a good catch.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think they worded it correctly to stop this then.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Anyway, because we got a bunch of this stuff's coming up in the rules section later. Anyway, I'm very excited because I like the flexibility. If you have somebody that's obviously on low hit points, you can tag them with your free damage and then take a strike at somebody else, or you can move, strike somebody, and then if you leave them on 1, tap them with your base and then move past them again with a second movement thing. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. I think it's very exciting.
I really like the idea about Criminals, because Criminals wants to play a lot of characters from other factions because they have so many, as Brandon puts it, potatoes. And the fact that you can kind of put 5 points into a model is going to be so premium for them. I think it's going to be a big deal. Juggernaut's going to be one of those things. Criminals just keep their stock just keeps rising. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I feel like Juggernaut's going to put them over the top. Are we ready for the next character? Because I have more.
No, we're not. We haven't finished Juggernaut yet.
Oh my gosh. Okay, cool.
He's different on the back, Parker.
Well, yeah, but there's really only one difference on his back, which I mentioned.
There's multiple differences on his back. Did you not see his new superpower on the back?
Of course, I almost forgot.
He has a different superpower on the back, Parker.
That's correct. He loses helmet, but he gains an active superpower, which is called Avatar of Sidorak. So for 3 power, he can choose interactive terrain feature or enemy character of size 3 or less within 2 and throw it medium. So he gains a throw on the backside.
So keep in mind, if you actually do manage to bring down this monster, he has multiple sources of auto damage at that point,
right?
And power to use them. That's going to be interesting. Because if he has 7 power, he can quite easily trigger the 10 dice attack, if he starts with 5 power, which is basically guaranteed if he got dazed, he's going to be able to throw I Am the Juggernaut, which will more than likely on 10 dice trigger Nothing Stops the Juggernaut, and then still have power left over to use Avatar of Sidorak.
Oh, remember, you don't have to have 5 power. You just have to have 2. Because after he moves, he gains 2 power. It's enough to do I'm the Juggernaut.
But then you wouldn't have enough for Avatar of Sidorak.
Right, so you'd have to have 5 to start with. Yeah, you do that too.
It's very exciting. Yeah. So anyway, I'm very happy with Juggernaut. I think he was a good way to capture this character without making him just nutso. Kind of like Hulk. Hulk's kind of hard to design because he's literally untouchable to most of the MCU.
Yeah.
So anyway, now we're ready for the next one.
All right, so more mutants. Not in the panel to play, but on another leak, we got some pictures taken of cards. We know Remy LeBeau, Gambit, has a card. We only know his front side right now, according to this. I'm not sure where his backside's hiding on the internet, but the front side is a 3-cost character. He has 5 health, moves medium, size 2. He has 3 physical, 3 energy, and 3 mystic defense. He has a physical bow staff attack, which is a range 2, 4 dice. He only gains 1 power for it. It has a wild push. If the character is size 3 or less, it pushes them short. He also has a ranged attack. It's physical, called Kinetic Ace. It's 5 dice, and he gains power for every damage dealt. It has a wild explosives, which does 1 damage to everyone within 2 of the target. And his spending attack is In Energy, 52 card pickup. It's a beam 4, 5 dice, and it has a wild called Flurry of Cards. When making this attack, each wild in the attack counts as 2 successes. Before we talk about his attacks real fast, I think I should mention he has a very interesting ability to manipulate to make sure his wilds happen more often, called a little something extra. For 1 power, after this character rolls an attack dice, he may use this power. This character may change 1 hit result to a wild result. So it has to be a hit already. You can't turn a blank or another dice to it, but he can turn a hit to a wild.
Yeah, basically meaning that you can you have a 3 in 8 chance per die to trigger wild effects, which is very good.
It also means, like, with 52 card pickup, if you have a power to spend, you just immediately turn 1 hit into 2. Functionally, is what happens.
That's a 37.5% chance per die to get a wild.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, having a 4 dice attack, which is his lowest one, is very easy to trigger.
Yes. It's also worth noting that he can add dice to any of his abilities by spending 3. He has the traditional, like, Black Bolt. You can add 2 attack dice for 3 power. His last ability is called Enhanced Agility. It has 2 power on it. After an attack targeting his character is resolved, he may immediately use the power. The attacking character suffers 1 damage, just happens. This character may advance away from the attacking character short. So after he gets attacked, he gets to do a damage and move away.
Isn't this basically Parting Shot? What's the difference? I'm gonna look up Parting Shot.
Yeah, who is Bullseye a Parting Shot?
I think he does. Also, Agent Widow has it.
Yeah, it is Parting Shot. Yep, it's Parting Shot.
They both trigger on damage.
No, Enhanced Agility triggers on attack resolution. It does not require.
This character may use super. Oh yeah, no, they're the same. Yeah,
they're the same.
Away from short, both cost 2. Yeah.
Yep.
Just a new name for Parting Shot. Okay, got it. Okay, so Parting Shot hits become wilds. You can only change 1 of your hits to a wild though, which is important. But you can add 2 dice for 3 power. So someone at the tournament, I was talking about X-Men are going to be getting better soon because they're getting more characters, said that, yeah, but Gambit's terrible. And I think they're very wrong. This seems like a very solid kit. A lot like Juggernaut, though, like, not on face value seems great, but if you like start thinking about the interactions, you're talking about a character that has like a 90% chance to push people with his strike up to size 3. That's very good.
Another weird thing about Kinetic Ace is it's an explosive builder. So if there are 2 characters within 2, he can just throw 2 Kinetic Aces and do 2 automatic damage, and then whatever he does with his dice. Like, that's a lot of damage to clustered characters. Really fast.
You might need to have 2 power before you do that, but yeah, it's very likely you will get some power back.
Well, no, you just need 1, right? Yeah, I guess to guarantee it, you would need 2. But if your builder does any damage, then the next one will also.
Right. I just want to make sure it's clear that people know you don't get power for the explosive.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to spend 1 to make sure there's a wild, but.
Right. And on 5 dice, the odds of no hits, no wilds is extremely small.
Right.
It's not guaranteed, but
it's also worth mentioning that if you beam 2 character or 52 card pickup and you start rolling any wilds in those rolls and then start adding more wilds if you're rolling hits, like, you can get a lot of damage really fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think he's like super broken or anything. I think he's very good, but yeah, the thought of like you look at this card and go, this is not a good character. I don't understand the logic there, because I guess the biggest problem is like he might die really fast, but I think because of Enhanced Agility, a lot of people are going to be avoiding attacking him. He's going to have to get basically one-shotted. If he gets one-shot, he's going to come back with a ton of power and unload into somebody.
Mm-hmm.
This feels a lot like Domino. Like, Domino just seems okay until you get her on the table and you see the mechanics work, and you're like, oh, this is much better than I thought it was. And so I think having X-Men having access to both Domino and now Remy, and then Magic soon, which also seems very solid. They're going to have 3 very good 3-pointers to go into their list. They're going to become an actual competitive faction, I think.
Good, Jeremy. You've been waiting patiently.
It's just nice to see another 3-point X-Men. And if you're attacking him, you're not attacking Storm and you're not attacking Domino, so I'm winning.
I don't think you care if they attack Storm.
Well, you can't, for one.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't. Yeah. But he is different. I don't know. He seems fine. I wouldn't say he's bad or good. Like, he kind of has some stuff to do things. Like, he's not kind of a blah like Beast. Beast is kind of blah, I think. But I don't like the fact he does have a push, so push is cool. So yeah, he's kind of got a kit to do kind of a little bit of everything, and that's what you want.
I would like to bring up real quick, he has 2 Gambit-only cards that were spoiled on the stream. The first is, during the power phase, Gambit may play this card. It's called Charming Thief. This round, when an enemy character within 4 of Gambit uses an active or reactive superpower, Gambit gains 1 power. And the second being Dark Past, which is, during the power phase, if your squad is not using the Uncanny X-Men affiliation, Gambit may play this card. Each allied character within 3 of Gambit gains stealth until the end of the round.
Wait, what? If you're not in X-Men?
Correct. Yes. Dark Past is I think, implying that he's doing some of his old shenanigans.
Oh. So it gives you a benefit for playing Gambit out of faction.
Yes.
Huh.
It's basically like Pretty Sneaky Sis, but they have to be within 3 of Gambit. Oh, hold on. It doesn't cost any power.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. So yeah, you just hand out stealth to whoever's within 3 of Gambit for free. That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah,
I don't remember that card.
That's cool.
So Charming Thief seemed kind of silly at first. Like, what does Gambit need power for? But like, feels like Gambit getting a lot of power at the right moment.
Mm-hmm.
And also, look at this. The Charming Thief also doesn't cost power.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is a terrible card now, seeing his kit, because Gambit randomly getting like 6 to 8 power seems like he could cause some serious damage.
Yeah.
Because if he's doing, 52 card pickup costs 4. If he's got 3 to pump the dice and then another 1 to change something to a wild, you're talking about a 7 dice attack where wilds count as 2, and you're basically guaranteeing an additional wild over your roll. And so you could theoretically spike up to 3 wilds, not consistently, but like in a good spot. And so if you're making a beam attack, probably hitting at least 2 people. I don't know, this could cause some serious damage.
He hits way above his 3-point cost for sure.
Yeah. But he also has a lot of utility, like the explosion and the ability to move people that are up to size 3. The big part is, I think, size 3. I think if we were told that this was going to be an ability, that he was not going to be able to push size 3. And so that's a big deal, because he becomes kind of their Iron Man type character that can hold a side point by himself really easily.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you walk up and try and hit him and get him down off of a point, he's going to cause an auto damage and walk out of your attack range. And then you're basically going to end your turn, because you have to move up to him so you can't attack. Then he's going to move to the other side of you, or if you didn't move up to him, he's going to walk up to melee range, and then tap you and basically auto push you off the point and laugh at you. And so you're basically going to take a damage for attacking him. You probably got some damage on him, but he's also attacking you back and getting a free push, basically. Like, this seems like a very doable kit. He's probably not great at 2v1ing, but I think it's good.
Yeah, I mean, he's a 3-point character. He's not supposed to wade in. He's not the Juggernaut. He's not supposed to wade into combat and be a monster. I don't know if anybody wanted him to be that, but he's not going to. That's just fine.
Are you able to hold in your absolute unbridled rage that Gambit is the topic of conversation right now? I know you hate him with a burning passion.
I do not like a lot of things about him, but I
Is
like
it his coat? You think his coat's silly?
I do think his outfit is, in the words of Ryan Reynolds from Dompier 3, your coat is ridiculous. I think everything about like his character concept is it's juvenile and amazing. Amazing that it ever like passed muster. Shatterstar's outfit makes more sense than Gambit's outfit.
I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah.
But think about it. If you were an orphaned kid in the bayou, you would think this guy looks like a badass.
Oh, when I was
you would probably kill
kid,
him and take his outfit. I think that's the origin story.
When I was a very parented child from the bayou, I thought Gambit was awesome. But as I've gotten older, he looks just so much. He's one of those characters that I'm kind of surprised he never got an update. Like Wolverine used to look kind of dumb too, with the weird like things flying off his knees and the giant thing on his head. Like, he looked kind of weird.
It was like the late 80s. Yeah, everyone looked silly.
Yeah, it looked silly. But I don't think Gambit really ever got like a facelift or an update. He just kind of always looked like
that. There's a Rogue and Gambit in a newer arc that have like actual superhero looking costumes.
Oh, okay.
I guess Rogue kind of does anyway, but she has the bomber jacket on top of it.
Right. But anyway.
So what is that thing anyway? It's not a mask. And it just kind of like surrounds his head and allows his hair to breathe. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
It's the exact same thing Jean Grey wears, which is the character he likes, it's why it makes no sense.
No, it's not the mask. The mask is badass. It's the
he likes that part.
It's the garish pink with the metal boots and
matches his eyes
and the duster. Like, all of those things together.
Dusters are cool.
I know dusters are great. Every character. No, I can't say that because I'm not.
All right, so we've clarified that you like the face hugger thing he's wearing. You like the fact that he is wearing a duster. And so the only thing you don't like is that he's wearing a chest piece of body armor that matches his eye color.
That's
what you're upset about?
That's not body armor. That's spandex with a metal belt. And
that's body armor. You can see it's raised above the rest of his costume.
Well, maybe.
That's body armor. When you're a professional thief, Parker, you'll understand.
It looks like if somebody his concept art looks like it was drawn in like not the back page of a 3-ring college rule notebook, but like the second to back page, because the other back page had been torn off during fourth period or whatever, and so it looks like somebody doodled this like well, yeah, you should have like pink and metal boots, like. Yeah, and a duster.
Well, I'm just saying it worked because a lot of people think he looks badass.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying still people buy Budweiser.
Still,
okay.
Hold on.
Still, right, shots fired here.
Still,
we're gonna have to handle this outside the squared circle here.
If you can find look, what if he was going through the chest of things and he's like, look, I need some armor, I need some pants and boots and all this shit. Well, they're pink, but whatever. They give me +1 to defense, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But then he's like looking around. He's like, "Oh, what is this thing I can put on my head?" It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. That was he found that in like a back storeroom at the X Mansion. It's like, hey, what is this? Oh, that's Jean's extra face hugger. He's like, I could wear this.
Yeah.
It'll keep the hair out of my eyes when I'm looking at people with my glowing red coal black eyes.
Oh my god.
Like, okay, whatever. All right, let's move on to the next one, and that way I can rip your logic apart.
Okay, so if Gambit was secretly good, but people were sure he was bad, here comes Colossus. So Colossus is... I'm going to read his card out loud. I'm going to try not to, like, color it with my opinion. Here we go. Colossus is a 4-cost character. He has 6 health on the front side and 7 health on the back. He's moves short. He's size 3. He has 4 physical defense, 3 energy defense, and 3 mystic, and those are the same on front and back. He has a physical strike that's range 2, gives 5 dice builder, and has a wild concussive force, which immediately forces the attacked character to lose 1 power. He has a spender attack, which is also physical, also range 2, called X Slam. It rolls 7 dice and it costs 3 power. It has stun after the attack is resolved automatically, and stagger on a wild. So what do we think about his stats and his attack?
I have some things to say.
Go ahead.
So first off, just to clarify, the strike ability concussive force is the exact same ability that Cyclops has on his optic devastation, which is why you probably thought it sounded like hot garbage.
Yeah.
That's about all I had to say.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
This guy is just his attacks. When you look at his attacks, you're like, this is a 4-cost character. Like Red Skull kicks the shit out of this guy with attacks, and his defensive stats are 4, 3, 3, and 6 health on a tanky guy.
4-3-3 is fine. Like, what do you expect him to do?
He's Colossus. He's supposed to, like, in every comic panel ever, he's wading through bullets and blasts, right? Like, that's what he is. He's the X-Men's Wall, and he's the immovable Russian.
What did you want him to have? What stat line would you give him?
I would have given him 4-4-3, or maybe even 4-4-2 if they just didn't like the total. But I think 4-4-3 would have been fine. Or
I think 4-4-3 probably would have been fine.
Yeah, and I think he should have stood out defensively. I don't think he should have had infinite health, because it's about his skin, right? He does have higher endurance than a regular person, but not as he's not supposed to be as high in endurance as someone like the Juggernaut, for example, who has mystical energy coursing through his body. He's just a really strong guy that also has organic metal skin that's extremely impervious to damage. I think I was expecting something like 4-4-3.
Okay, well, let's finish his card and then I'll rebuttal.
Okay, he does have a throw called Playing Catch. It is 3 cost, and it can throw interactive terrain features of size 3 or less. Medium if they start within 2 range of him. He has Big Brother, which is costs 2 power. It is exactly Protect. So if there's somebody else is being attacked within 2, he can take the damage, take the attack for them. He has. I
think you meant it is Bodyguard.
Bodyguard. Sorry, not Protect. Yeah. Bodyguard. He has another superpower called Bojimoy. It is 2 cost. When this character is targeted by a physical or a energy attack, he may immediately add 2 dice to his defense roll against that attack. And then Organic Steel, which reduces his damage suffered by 1 to minimum 1. He's immune to bleed. That's it.
Okay. So my response to the defensive stats, if they were to give him 4-4-3, I think he would be the first character with 4-4 that has damage reduction, right?
Yes. That sounds right.
And he also has a mechanic that adds defense dice.
Yes.
So you're talking about a character that would basically be 6-6 in the important situations that also has free damage reduction. I think that's probably why he's 4-3-3.
Okay.
Now, if you want to complain about his attacks, I'm not going to argue against you. I think Stagger on a Wild is probably fine, but realistically, it doesn't matter what that attack says because you're never going to use it because he's a protector.
Mm-hmm.
I think he just seems so
he's pretty
boring.
meh.
He seems so boring.
He's very boring. But
Johnny Cage at least is a 3-pointer that does cool stuff. Like, this guy's 4 points.
Did you call him Lonnie?
Huh?
Did you say Lonnie Cage?
No, I said Johnny. No, it's not Johnny.
Johnny Cage? Johnny Cage is from Mortal Kombat.
Damn it.
Who are you thinking?
Lucas, his cousin?
Cage.
Luke Cage. That's why I was like, did he say Lonnie Cage?
Lonnie Cage. Cage. Scorpion. Pub-Zero.
We're talking about the Cage family here, okay? There's a bunch of them. They all show up. On the table.
There's no telling.
I just
God forbid it's Nicholas.
I just had this great image. Of like a really bad porn Mortal Kombat remake where it's just Lonnie Cage and just a bunch of really weird names, just barely not the real names.
To be clear, the best part of Colossus is the ability to joke about all the cages now that exist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's just fucking boring.
Yeah, but he's a bodyguarder. Like, they are boring. Welcome to the universe.
No.
Like, let's talk about Captain America as a comparison, because they're fairly similar characters. Mm-hmm. The biggest difference being that Captain America is going to pick up a ranged attack in replacement for the throw, basically. Outside of that, they're fairly comparable. Like, honestly, Colossus might be about as hard to kill because he's got the damage reduction instead of the blanks on the back. Immunity to bleed isn't terrible. Like, a lot of people are throwing bleed around nowadays. He's fine. Like, yeah, he's not going to be particularly great at dealing out the damage, but he's not supposed to. He definitely couldn't be 3 points, and he could have energy defense 4, but I don't know that makes him a better character. Like, if that 1 defense die is making the difference, you don't need it. Like, that's my argument.
We were talking about his stat line earlier. That's why I didn't like that he had 4-3-3, but I could say that.
Oh, he has more health on the back.
He does.
He has 7 on the back.
I did say that. I think I did.
Okay, I missed it.
Yeah. That's the only difference between his front side and his back side. I think that, I said that he's supposed to be like the X-Men's Wall, right? And that's what he is in the comic books. And he usually, every once in a while he stands up and fist fights somebody strong, but for the most part, he is like a very defensive character in like their strategy. So that I think they did a good job of translating him onto the board. But man, I do not know how much do I want to spend 4 points on a character, because Captain America. The one thing about Captain America is that Captain America has a data unlike any other, which is an amazing leadership, which is one of the reasons why you put him on the board. But the other reason why you put him on the board is he actually does have the ability to move other characters, so he has some control issues, some things to control. And Colossus cannot throw other characters, so
he has a throw.
He doesn't throw his characters.
It's only interactive terrain.
Yeah, like if they would have put interactive terrain or character on his card, I don't think that breaks him, and I would like him a lot more, because it would give me some reason to take him other than I want him to protect other characters. And here's the other bit: if he rolls well, or if DR happens and he spends 2 power and only takes 1 damage, then he's not going to be able to do it again very much. He has to get really close before he starts gaining power. This is one of the things we didn't like about Captain America, is the old version of his card, is that he would actually run out of power, and he actually got to discount Bodyguard by 1 every other time it got used. So
yeah, but he doesn't have to spend for the extra dice as often because he's got the organic steel. Like, he doesn't have to get +2 defense dice against 4 dice attacks, really, because he's already going to only take 1.
You're right. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying.
And
that
he's got 2 more hit points. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I do not know. I will, maybe I'll put it on. If I ever get a chance to put him on the board, I'll be really surprised how he always has 2 power to do Big Brother. But I don't think he will most of the time. I think you're taking him to protect your vulnerable characters, and you actually won't get that much protection out of him.
I mean, there's no veiled concept here. I don't think he's going to get played because he's a 4-point character in X-Men.
Yeah.
Like, that's the conversation, is that they printed a 4 on his card. He's literally unplayable. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the problem. And so I get that he's let down at 4 points, but what the fuck would he have to do to get into your list at 4 points? Like, he'd have to be insane, right? Because you're not playing him first. You're definitely playing Rogue first.
Yes.
He would have to be absolutely crazy to get onto the table. So the only people that are going to play Colossus are people that just like Colossus. And for those people, I think he's fine. He's not bad. He's probably not hyper competitive. But he's not going to actively lower your ability to win.
No.
He's going to be a brick. He's going to stand there. He's going to bodyguard a decent amount of attacks, and he's going to not die.
I just want to play my Deadpool movie list.
He
helps that.
He is in X-Force.
That's what I'm saying.
I think the bigger question would be, does he fit into X-Force?
And I would actually say, no. Like that's actually the other thing that's what I was going to get to, is I love X-Force. I love me some X-Force. And I stared at this guy going, man, this doesn't help X-Force at all. I
think you'd be surprised how frustrating it is to try and kill a healing factor 2 person when he's standing next to a bodyguard.
That's true. It would allow, you might be able to...
You could keep Sabretooth alive forever.
Yeah, Sabretooth and Wolverine and Deadpool would all never die.
Wait, he does have, and it already was spoiled a while ago, he can throw other friendlies,
yes,
right?
Fastball Special is the best friendly throw card in the game.
Yeah, that's actually might be the reason to play Colossus.
Here, let me pull it up. I have it right here. Hold on.
That actually is probably what it is. He probably costs 4 because he has Fastball Special.
Fastball Special costs 1 power each, so it's not overly taxing. If Colossus and Wolverine are within 2 of each other, they may most bet one to play this card. Throw the allied Wolverine medium. Wolverine does not suffer damage for collision, and by the way, Wolverine counts as size 3 when thrown. Enemy characters that he collides with roll 2 fewer dodge dice and suffer bleed.
Yep, that's it. That is so worth playing Colossus. That giving Wolverine the initiative like that is such a big deal. Wolverine will be able to do so much more work with Colossus. So I'm sold. Yeah. I actually, after thinking,
you gotta try it at least.
Yeah, I will definitely. And also, I will say this: X-Force does have the ability to play a 4-cost character. You're not that mad about playing a 4-cost character in X-Force.
Yeah.
So.
Weird how the faction is basically built on the back of 4-point average.
Yeah, it's a strange faction, but but I think that it will be a different way to play them. I think Colossus. I think you'll probably have to sub out Sabretooth probably to play him, but I don't know if you'd be that. I don't know if you'd be that upset in some scenarios.
honestly, you might drop Cable. I don't know.
Just because you don't care about his leadership that much, maybe.
The leadership becomes slightly less valuable. The defense dice become less valuable. And he's 5 points. I think you probably might try it at like a super lean point total. Like if you're doing like 14 or something on sword base,
right?
Maybe give it a try. And you're just gonna run like Sabretooth, Wolverine, Deadpool, Colossus. How many points is that? That's 15.
I'd probably run Domino instead, but yeah, of Deadpool.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think there's something there. Or you could throw Bob in and be at 14. Because that's a lot of beef followed up by like a contester.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway,
so
I think there's something there. I don't think he's bad. I think people are giving him a bad rap. I think it's going to be like Black Dwarf. You need to see how hard he is to remove before you can really judge him.
Yeah. As soon as Jeremy said he's so boring, my mind immediately went to our review that we regret of Black Dwarf, of how he just seems so boring, and Colossus is even more somehow beyond that extreme of boring.
He is far more boring than Black Dwarf.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the thing is, he does have a cool card, but does that cool card bring him into a level of playing? Whereas our favorite Cage of all the Cages, Luke Cage, has one of the coolest tactics cards in the game, where he comes flying across the fucking board and throws your ass out of combat. Like, that's a crazy card, and it makes him so valuable. Does Colossus's throw a dude into bed? Maybe, but Get Help also does that, and it isn't in every list.
Well,
Get Help costs 10 points because you're out of Thor and probably Loki. So,
the problem isn't even that; it's that you have to have that 10 points right next to each other. Like it's on top of everything. And people play Get Help. Like it's a great card.
No, it's a great card if you have them in
there. For people at home, it's actually called Sibling Rivalry, but it's really called Get Help.
Get Help.
Yeah.
I don't want to get help.
I'm not doing Get Help.
We're not doing Get Help.
My brother, he's injured. He needs help. Help him. Anyway. Yeah, I think he's got legs. I want to see him on the table. Let's see.
It's funny. So I was looking at Colossus. You said, in X-Men, wouldn't you just always play Rogue? And I was like, let me look. And so I looked at Rogue's card, and immediately comparisons could be made. She's also 6 health. She also has 4/3/3. She also has damage reduction, and her throw is exactly the same, except she can throw size 4.
Except we're going to add a much better set of attacks, and she has charge.
And the mutant absorption.
And other abilities that are fun.
Yeah. And she flies.
The other thing I wanted to bring up about
and she's medium
Colossus.
Move. Yeah.
She's medium move, the other thing I wanted... she has a arguably even better tactics card.
Yeah.
But anyway, on Colossus, he is on a medium base. And having a bodyguard on a medium base projects the bubble of protection in a surprisingly larger area. Like, it doesn't seem like a lot when you're looking at it on the table, but it is a much larger area.
Yeah, I do like that. Man, Rogue looks so good compared to him. I just love staring at both the cards at the same time. I'm like, man, why would he, what? 4 points in X-Men, what were you doing?
All right, and her important tactics card is Mind If I Cut In. Rogue may play this card active. Costs 0 power. This round, when an enemy character is choosing the target character for a non-area, non-beam attack, if Rogue is in range and line of sight, the enemy must spend 1 power. If they do not, they must target Rogue with the attack.
Oh, that's great.
And so she has reverse bodyguard, where she's taxing the enemy, which is very powerful in the early turns, because they walk up and like, oh, I'm going to spend my 2 power to do my cool cheap spender. And they're like, all right, well, do you have 3 power? And they're like, no, it's turn 2. And you're like, well, you're attacking Rogue. And he's like, well, I don't want to attack Rogue.
Yeah.
You're like, suck it.
Yeah. Ugh. I'm really excited to play Rogue in the X-Men.
That's because Rogue is cool.
I will say this. There is something to be said about the fact that Rogue and Gambit that both have the same last name, and they both have jackets on. So we can play double jacket, double abuse. That does teep my totter a little bit. It does make me happy to see that there's a pair of jackets.
I think Parker should not be allowed to play Rogue and Gambit because he bad talked them. Listeners, what do you think? Because he bad talked Rogue and Gambit, I think he should be forced to only play Phoenix, Jean Grey and Cyclops. as his X-Men list. What do you guys think?
I would-
Let me know in the comments.
I would counter with saying you can't play Black Bolt because you think he's so dumb, but you won't play Black Bolt because you think he's so dumb.
Facts.
So I guess.
Hey, I stand by what I say.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm going to defend. I am going to defend Parker here. I don't think it's those two characters that he hates. He just hates all Cajuns.
He is a racist, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a people, not those two models. It's just a people he hates.
Swamp people.
Don't worry, he doesn't hate them because they individually are bad. He hates them because of where they're from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which is definitely understandable.
How
this
could you
makes
have pride
sense
in
now.
that place?
There's only two things that people can't tolerate, and that's other people being intolerant of other people's cultures, and then the Dutch. Those are the two things that you can't tolerate.
Oh Lord.
We did have one more bit of news. There's one more news.
Okay.
Speaking of
Hit me
X-Men.
with it.
It's not an X-Men card, but it might as well be. It feels like it should be anyway. It's called Versatile Strategy. It's a tactics card, unaffiliated, active, costs no power. An allied character with an active leadership ability may play this card. You may choose a non-active leadership ability of an allied character in your current squad that corresponds to your squad affiliation. The chosen leadership ability is now active instead of the current leadership ability. All effects of the original leadership ability expire.
Okay, I was just confirming you can't, like, Yankee swap to Cabal mid-game.
Nope, you can't.
You're like, no, I play Darkrai, and you're like, excuse me?
No,
Okay,
you don't.
just
You,
making
you
sure.
don't change affiliation. You just change power. But it is permanent. It's not the turn. It just happens.
Is this free? It doesn't
Yes,
cost
it
power?
is. It is free.
I wonder if you're going to see people throw that in with, like, Brotherhood, and you're like, all right, well, turn one, I'm definitely
Yes.
playing Mystique's leadership,
Uh-huh.
and then once I've picked up all the tokens, I'm going to play this card
I think
and
it's.
start breaking stuff.
I really really like it with that one. I thought about that one. Also, she can put the token down. Oh wait, the token would disappear as soon as you played Versatile Strategy. But the picking up tokens for free totally works.
Yeah.
Um,
But at that point, it basically becomes X-Men First Class, the card, because that's basically what it does, which is fine. You could start off playing Cap's leadership, and then throughout the game, as people start getting injured, flip over to Sam's leadership, and then start triggering all those abilities, which could be fun.
because Sam actually really likes power deduction early game, but it doesn't need it later game. Avengers could work between those two.
I mean, obviously, there's only, 4 affiliations that have 2 leaders right now anyway.
Right. I think this is one of those cards that's going to get more stock as the game expands.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That seems pretty obvious.
The other one I thought it was maybe... Nah, I don't think Web Warriors. On the turn you used all webbed up, you could use Versatile Strategy to switch to Big Peter, I guess, but I don't know why you do that. That seems like a real Rube Goldberg machine.
Versatile Strategy on your win the game turn, I think would be a good call, because after you've all webbed up with Miles, you can switch over and start placing people off points after they've activated.
Right.
And so there could be a bit of a gotcha mechanic there. I think Web Warriors probably abuse it the most because of that interaction of I only need to place you the one time to win the game. And it probably abuses it the most, but I don't know if they'll really play it that much.
I actually considered maybe Cabal because you like Red Skull's ability early game. I don't know how much you need it later in the game after everybody's got objectives. Maybe you'd like to have Sins later. I don't know.
I think Red Skull's already too much of a support investment for most people anyway, and so I think you wouldn't be taking Red Skull and Sin in the same list. I think it's a trap.
Yeah.
I think you end up too weak on the offensive side, especially for an affiliation that's meant to murder people.
Yeah, I don't. I also didn't see spending a tactic slot for that seemed too weak.
Yeah.
Even though we have 10 slots now to bring it, you could probably afford to bring it. Actually, putting it on the table, I don't know when you would do that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Alrighty. Well, that was a big news section. We had a lot to talk about. I'm very excited for New Mutants coming out. Mutants are always the most fun characters. All right. So currently playing is kind of going to actually be in the news section, right?
You mean
not news? Sorry, the main.
Yeah, kind of
the main topic.
Yeah.
So let's cover that in the main topic.
Go for it.
All right. What we are going to do that we haven't done in a while is Parker. We're going to play a Daily Bugle segment. Normally, a Daily Bugle segment is basically just a little trivia section where we ask random questions to each other. but this time we're going to do a gambling section. And so Parker will be allowed to wager any number. It's like the final round of Family Feud.
What?
Whatever game show where you can wager points. I don't know. I watch game shows.
Jeopardy?
I'm not a sick child at home. I don't watch game shows.
Buck Futter. Yeah, I got it.
Tell me, does it really make your penis mightier? So anyway.
Texas with a $.
All right, so Jeremy brought this up before Parker joined the cast today. So we have the top 4. Is this the end of season 6, Jeremy?
Yeah, it's the top 4 left.
The end of the TTS season 6 league has just happened, and there is a top 4 of placers. And so what we want you to do is guess which affiliations made top 4.
Okay.
And this is using the pre-updated rules, but everything that's been released is available.
Like Convocation, I think, is the latest, right?
I believe that is correct.
That's the last affiliation. That's
basically any models that have been sold to the public anywhere are usable in the game.
Yes, but it wasn't the updated rule set, right?
Right. They're still using pre-November rules.
Okay.
So all you've got is still legal.
Got it. So I'm supposed to guess 4 for 4. The affiliations.
So yeah, let's put. What do we want to put the restriction on, Jeremy? Because obviously there could be a duplicate. So let's say if you go at least 50% on your guesses, I'll count that as a win.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So I have to get 2 of the 4.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you guess.
Generous.
You guess 2. Yeah, no, because this is a hard question, right?
This is
the
a
odds
hard
of him
question.
randomly guessing all 4 slots correctly is going to be pretty hard, I think. So if he goes 2 for 4 correct, that's a win.
Okay.
So he doesn't even need to break 50%. And you can wager any number of your 630 probationary episodes at a 1-for-1 rate.
Okay.
I'm going to make a wager. I need to make a wager as well.
Okay, well, real quick, I'll give you the option, Parker. If you want to go 3 for 4, I'll give you odds. So you're wagering like on a 2-to-1 rate.
So if I lose, I don't lose as much, is what you're saying.
Right. So let's say if you want to try and go 3 for 4, and you bet 50 episodes, you would reduce your total by 100 if you win. You gain 50 if you lose.
Got it.
So I'll give you better odds if you want to try and guess a higher percentage of the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jeremy, what was your wager you wanted to do?
I will bet 11 pizza rolls that that Parker will only get one of them correct.
Parker, do you want to wager in pizza rolls?
How do I owe him pizza rolls?
We sell pizza rolls at the shop, so you have to buy pizza rolls for the loser.
Okay, so you think
winner,
so Jeremy, I win the bet if I get more than one is your bet? Is your
correct?
Bet?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll take 11 pizza rolls.
Okay.
I will buy 11.
He's getting in on this action.
Bold move.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, are the new cards in?
Yeah, everything that came in the box is legal.
But I mean, like the new cards, like the Guardians, or the new Guardians cards in this league. Are they?
No. No, it's everything before the release of new rules.
Got it. So the new rules and erratas are...
so like Dune Prophecy is still unaffiliated.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah, all of the November updates did not go live. All of, Shuri is still old Shuri.
Okay.
So... I'll give you... let me tell you something else, too. I'll give you a fact about the thing.
This is such a weird Daily Bugle.
Wait.
No.
What are you going
to... no, listen.
Don't tell him...
I'm not telling him anything.
Okay.
There's no detail. Right. Like, listen.
Why are you telling him? There's no detail.
It's something cool about the Final Four.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
It's something cool. So the discussion comes up from time to time. Is this game competitive or fun? What is it, right? What I can tell you is the top 3 people that are in it, one has already won TTS twice. One has won once, and the other guy, I don't know who he is. I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm sure he doesn't listen. But basically, and then
he's a huge scrub.
And then the 4th person he's been in the championship final game twice. So if you're good at the game is very competitive. That's my point.
It is okay. That's fair. Is his name Jason? Because he apparently is 2nd place in Jason.
Second place in Jason. What are you talking
Because
about?
he got second twice. That's what we always used to call Jason was, second place in Jason, because he got runner-up in like 9 tournaments.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
No, but this one really is like these people have managed to play very well many times. Very competitive.
Yeah, no, they're clearly, despite what affiliations they're playing, they're clearly good at the game. It's not a random chance thing.
So yeah, no hints there. I was just throwing that fact out.
Yeah, that's just a fun fact while Parker deliberates.
Yep. Ding, 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 ding.
Okay, this is what I want to do. I'm going to try to get...
bonus, if you get them 100% correct, I'll double your bet. And if you get them in the correct order, I'll double it again.
This is like blackjack. Like if you get this one, you get this, and you get this one, you get this. I get you. Okay, so I
think it's craps, but yeah.
Oh, craps does it. Okay, okay. No, just out of curiosity, if I guess if I do a guess for all 4, are you just saying that whatever I bet, I'll get that kind of incremental payout? Is what you're saying, or do I have to do
right?
2
So
for
let's say first place was Black Order, second place was Web Warriors, third place was Guardians, fourth place was Defenders.
Gotcha.
You got all 4 correct in the correct order. I would quadruple your original bet in removing probationary episodes.
All right, this is what I'm going to do then. I'm going to bet. Let's bet 200 probationary episodes.
All right, so the wager is 200 episodes.
Okay. And I need to get it in. I'm going to try to get it. So here's where I think was number 1. I bet number 1.
And these aren't locked in. I'll just write them all down, then we'll confirm.
Okay. I bet number 1 was. Kind of wish I just could see a list of the ones in the game if I forget them.
List of the finishers? Yeah, that'd make it easier.
No, list of the affiliations.
Yeah, that'd make it easier.
You could go to Atomic Mass Games and pull up the affiliation list.
I'll do that real fast so I don't mess this up.
I think, you know what? I think he needs to also do the top 4 worst toppings for pizza as well.
That would also be a good one.
I mean,
we'll add this. All right, so top 4. Next question in the Daily Bugle is worst.
Okay, here we go.
Pizza toppings.
I bet number 1 was. Criminals. I bet number 2 was Convocation. 3 Wakanda. 4 Web Warriors.
So close. And pizza topping.
It's not locked in yet.
No. Pizza
He's
toppings.
He's just trolling you though. No, we're going to do this one.
Oh, okay, first. This one first.
He might decide he doesn't want to bet anything on pizza toppings.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, so currently your bet for first place is Criminals, second place is Convocation, third place Wakanda, fourth place Web Warriors.
I did that, yeah.
Now keep in mind, these are not unique, so you could double up a bet if you wanted.
Sure, I feel like
you could say first and fourth were Web Warriors or something.
I'm constantly putting I'm putting Web Warriors on the list in fourth as kind of a. I would be surprised if it was, but they should be on there somewhere. So I'm putting Web Warriors and Wakanda in a place I don't think they should be because I wonder if this is weird. I think Convocation was played a bunch there, so I think it's on the list, and I bet somebody did well with them. I think Criminals belong in the top spot, and I don't know if they got there, but I'm doing a top 4 for a weird situation. If you looked at that top 4, you'd be like,
shotgun approach?
Well, no, I'm looking more of a like if I saw that top 4, I'd be like, yeah, well, I guess that makes sense. It wouldn't be what I would have if I would have written a novel. I wouldn't have written it that way. But I could see how that'd be surprising, like the way a Super Bowl turns out sometimes. It's just not the team you thought was going to win. But
are you betting with your heart? You're betting with your heart.
Heart of the cards, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Jeremy, you have the results in front of you. Is that correct?
Yes.
You have them pulled up. Mm-hmm. Okay. Parker, you're good with your bet. 200 on the line.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeremy, what was first place?
The number 1. Hold on. Let me see here. Make sure I get the proper order. Sam Wilson, Avengers.
Sam Wilson running Avengers, right?
Yep. Okay. That's number 1.
Right. Okay. So that's a miss on first.
I was
second
worried.
Place.
That was close though. Second. So second. Okay, so that was also Sam Wilson Avengers.
Sam Wilson Avengers again.
Sam Wilson. Okay. Go ahead and mark it.
All right. So second was wrong. All right. So Parker's still alive for winning the bet.
Okay.
What was third place, Jeremy?
Third place was Avengers with Sam Wilson.
Okay. And what was fourth place? We railroaded you so hard.
Also, Sam Wilson running Avengers.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Got so fucked over, brother.
We got him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Oh my god. We fucking had to sell that for 10 minutes.
Oh my fucking god.
Okay.
Are you kidding? It was only the Sam Wilson Avengers?
Parker, you're up to 830 probationary episodes.
Thanks.
And 11 pizza rolls.
I gave a second thought to Avenger just because there's so many fucking Avengers now.
Yeah.
So I thought about.
they have like 11 leaders.
Yeah.
All I need.
You're right.
That was good. That was worth the entire episode. Keeping that under wraps.
That was amazing. Sam
Wilson. Man. All right. Would you like to wager on pizza toppings?
Now, how do I get who by whose authority do we know the pizza toppings? This sounds subjective.
We will impartially vote.
Yeah.
Based on your answers.
Wait, hold on. I thought you meant like you had some sort of like
unless Jeremy, did you
survey
pull up
result
a list?
or something? Yeah.
We polled 2 people before you joined the cast.
Survey
Please
says
close the document while I type it in real quick. We'll put you in a different channel while we talk about it.
Okay, so hold on. So I'm supposed to guess your favorite pizza toppings is what you're telling me?
No, the worst pizza toppings.
And they have to be legitimate. You can't say like dirt or worms.
Yeah, that would be
rusty nails.
No.
So if you name the 4 pizza toppings, they're at least commonly accepted to be pizza toppings. Like you can't say like nails and broken glass. Like as an example, anchovies. Like something that people put on pizza that other people think is dumb.
Is this something that people put on pizza and you think is bad? Is it Sam Wilson and the Avengers? Is that the answer?
No, no. It's not a trick. It's actual pizza toppings. Okay. But you don't have to if you don't want to.
I'll do it. Let's wager. I want to wager 170 episodes.
170 episodes on the plate.
Uh-huh.
All right. What's your answer to first pizza topping?
Pickles.
People put pickles on pizza?
Yeah, they call it cheeseburger pizza. Yeah, there's a thing.
Oh my god.
Okay.
It's
a good one.
What's next?
Things that you guys wouldn't, things that people don't like. Alfredo sauce. People put Alfredo sauce on pizzas.
I like Alfredo sauce.
That's wrong. That's
on pizzas? Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's you could argue it's not pizza anymore, but like it's actually pretty good.
Okay. Something that you wouldn't like. I'm gonna go with something basic. Just say that you don't appreciate it. Onions. I'm just gonna say onions.
Onions.
Not everybody appreciates onions.
I see.
And the final one. Let's go with jalapenos. Jalapenos are put on pizza.
Is that really a pizza topping?
Yeah, people put jalapenos on pizza. Yeah. I don't
even know how to spell jalapenos.
It's jalapenos.
Jalapenos. I'm going to actually veto Alfredo sauce because that's not a topping. It's a sauce.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to get rid of that. So you have another option. Would you like to move onions and jalapenos up the list?
No.
Okay, leaving 2 empty.
Let's put I think of all the things I've ever seen on a pizza. Things that they wouldn't appreciate.
So you got onions, peppers.
I'm surprised he chose onions.
He probably eats that fucking Hawaiian pizza with whatever's on it, like some sort of fucking fruit.
Hawaiian pizza has pineapple on it, but I actually
he totally said it. That's the super secret buzzword.
Wait, what? Is that what this was?
The secret word you haven't been able to say for 3 months has been pineapple.
God damn it!
I can't believe Jeremy came up with a topic for it.
Oh.
And I was actually never going to.
You win that
I was
one.
going to say I was never going to say it because it's too obvious. like
pineapple.
you guys would actually probably really like. I mean, it doesn't taste bad on pizza, by the way. It tastes fine.
I don't think pineapple belongs on pizza, but I don't disagree that it is edible and different and enjoyable. But yeah, it's not for me.
Hold on.
Yeah, I think onions definitely belong on pizza.
So was this all just a ruse, right? It's all just a ruse to get me one.
I mean,
one
yeah, that was supposed
episode?
to. If you'd like to bet, we will vote on them.
No, it's fine. Deal.
Okay.
Thanks.
Are you gonna? You don't want to bet? But Parker, you're up to 831 probationary episodes.
No, I'm good. I'm capping out there. I'm jumping right there.
Right.
By the way, nobody gave me any kudos for saying Dompier 3 earlier.
I actually caught that, and I didn't mention it, hoping that you would forget.
Oh.
Dompier 3.
Dude, Blade 3 was not as bad as people thought it was.
It was the best one, in my opinion. Because
I will fight you. No, I take everything back. You're the worst.
No, the reason why I liked it the most is it was Ryan Reynolds played Deadpool before he was Deadpool, and that's what I liked about that.
Wasn't Patton Oswalt in that too?
Yes, and that's the next thing I was going to say is Patton Oswalt is wonderful in it.
They're like the nerd
Jessica
team, right?
Biel's also in it.
Yes,
which is like a bonus to any movie.
Patton Oswalt has one of my favorite lines in any movie ever. When Ryan Reynolds asks him if he's a virgin, and he looks at him and goes, "Oh, I've had sex many times." With ladies. It's a weird awkward pause between the first and the second sentence. Oh, it's wonderful. I've had sex many times.
All right.
With ladies.
So anyone who is confused, there's a secret buzzword every episode that if Parker says it, he gains probationary episodes. It has been pineapple. He finally said it, even though he had to get tricked into it.
It seems like
and
collusion.
so now, between now and the next episode, me and Jeremy will get together and come up with a new buzzword. It has to be something that isn't used in everyday conversation, and then that will be the new secret buzzword. And they will continue to be until he says it.
Antiquing?
I will probably not be antiquing. Or will it?
Okay.
Okay, so that's going to wrap up the Daily Bugle. So we're going to move into our main topic today. Or do you guys want to do from the forums first, as a palate cleanser, before we get into the topics?
Yeah, do the fourth from the. I mean, are we worried we're gonna run long if we try to squeeze both in?
We're probably gonna be fine. We just have to hurry through the main topic because we spent a lot of time in news. Okay. So from the forums, we have some clarification. One of our locals had pointed out to us, and we had been talking about it. I think we talked about it on the podcast actually. The two missions, Mayor Fisk vows to find missing witnesses, and Terrigen Cloud sweep over city. Are both very similar in the wording of their effects. I'll read Mayor Fisk as an example. During the cleanup phase, space, each of the witnesses may flee, period. Starting with the player with priority, space, each player places all witness tokens secured by their opponent within 2 of their current location, period space. Each token may be placed this way only once per round, period space. Then each character within 1 of the witness suffers a damage and stun. And then the difference on Terrigen is they instead suffer poison instead of stun. So his argument was because they're separate sentences, that even if it doesn't get placed when it was secured, you still suffer the damage and the stun condition. And we had always argued that we thought it was a single block of text, so it's all one rule. So if the trigger doesn't happen, it doesn't fire. And it was apparently clarified on the forums, and I just missed it. This was clarified back on March 29th. The answer is neither of the characters, if 2 people are contesting it so it's not secured, neither of the characters suffered damage and the token is not moved. And so it's a both or nothing. Either it's secured and gets moved and does damage, or nothing happens. So I think that's a very important thing to know. It dramatically changes the way those missions are played depending on how you have interpreted it between your play group. So I think that's a really important one. Does that make sense to you, Parker?
Yeah.
All right. So this one kind of confused me then, because I was like, okay, well, that's pretty obvious that it's more of like an intended thing. This one is about Research Station attacked. It's very similar to the Mayor Fisk and Terrigen missions because it has another objective token that is placed if it's controlled. This one says during the power phase, the researcher may move. If a player is securing the researcher, they may place it within 2 of its current position. The evac point furthest from their battlefield edge is the evac point. So basically, it's kind of like reverse capture the flag. You're trying to push the center point towards your opponent's board edge. And once you get it to their secure point, then it starts being worth extra points, and the extra points are 2 if the evac point is within range 1 of the researcher. You get an additional 2 points. But the wording is such that it just says a player scores 2 points if they're securing the researcher during the cleanup phase, period. Then a player scores 2 victory points if the researcher is within 1 of their evac point during the control phase. And so the question was, do you score the 2 victory points for the researcher being within 1 of the evac point, even if you're not securing the researcher? The answer is yes, you do, which I thought was kind of surprising.
So if the researcher's just sitting there and no one's around, it's...
Correct.
Interesting.
Yeah, so once you get it to within 1, you will then score it on the next time.
So you don't have to be securing the researcher for it to score on the point.
Right, to
that
score for proximity.
That makes some sense-ish. Like logically it makes sense. Like the researcher's supposed to be at the point, I guess. Huh. That's a secure mission, right?
This is an extract, which is weird because it plays exactly like a secure mission.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the one. I think I lost that one somehow. It came with Sinister. I don't think I used to have that one. I don't think I have it anymore.
No, it comes with Scarlet Witch, which came out at the same time.
Oh.
Yeah. Sinister comes with the Legacy Virus.
That's right.
Yeah, but they came out on the same day, so it's easy to mix up. So the next one we have today, this is more of just a shout out to Thoris, one of the moderators on the forums, and I love this guy because he's moderating with the heart of Will Pagani himself. The question here is, Ultron uses Doom's prophecy and dies, then plays Age of Ultron, is resurrected. Does the new resurrected version of Ultron suffer the negative effect of having played Doom prophecy? Answer is, Ultron may not play Doom Prophecy. It is Asgard character only.
Yep.
And so I absolutely love the complete disacknowledgement of the original question entirely.
Mm-hmm.
I love how he answers questions. It basically just read the goddamn cards. Stop pestering me. I love it so much. Thank you for your service. Next one we have up is kind of an oddball. I'm going to pull up this just for clarity. So everyone's familiar with abilities like Can't Catch Me and God of Mischief or whatever it is, where you can use a react ability to move away from an attacker. And if you get out of range or line of sight, it cancels the attack, correct? You guys are familiar with these abilities?
Yeah. Yup.
Well, I don't know if you're aware, there's a Tactus card that does a very similar mechanic, Escort to Safety.
Mm-hmm.
This one says, push the targeted allied character toward the allied character playing the card short. If at the end of the push, the target character is outside of the attacker's range or the attack's line of sight, the attack action ends. So that's a action ends, not the attack ends. So the question on the forum is basically, if someone uses a beam or AoE attack, does it cancel the entire action? And the answer is no, but we are going to clarify this in a later update, so you won't have to worry about it. But yeah, rules as written, Escort to Safety cancels the entire attack.
But they don't get their action back, or do they get their action back?
It said if it did not target multiple characters, they may make another action. But it still cancels the entire action, so as long as it targeted more than one person, they don't get another action. So if you were to, let's say, for example, God of Thunder with Thor, it's an AoE 3.
Mm-hmm.
You get 5 people with it. You choose to target, I don't know, random character number 1 first. Another character plays Escort to Safety and pulls them out of range or line of sight of the attack. All 5 targets' attacks cancel because the whole action cancels. Because they added the word action to the card, not just the attack. And so they're basically going to errata the card to not say action. But yeah, rules is written that canceled the whole thing, which was really stupid.
That's dumb, yeah.
Yeah. This is kind of a read the card timing situation here. I wanted to just bring it up because it is kind of finicky right now. Someone was asking if you had the opportunity to use Death Factor on Omega Red after his end of activation apply poison effect happens, and the answer is obviously not. Because it happens at the end of his activation, not during his turn. Basically, the person was confusing the second action with when your activation ends. Because prior to the November rules update, the forum clarified that at the end of your second action you gain an activated token. And so they were representing that to say that your activation has ended, but then they went on to clarify you can still use powers and things. And so there was a lot of confusion about that with some people. And so I just wanted to bring that up so people realize that was not the case. This one I know we have done wrong several, if not hundreds of times. So the question is, if a character is dazed from an attack, can that character suffer negative status effect conditions that were generated from the attack? The answer is, depends on the individual ability, but most of the time, no. And I was like, is that really true? Have we been playing this wrong? And so I pulled up Hawkeye. I was like, well, surely it doesn't say... And then I read the full quiver. It says, after the attack is resolved, the defending character gains one of the following negative effects. I was like, son of a bitch. Do they all say this?
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh my god, we've been playing this so wrong. Ghost Rider, for example. Ghost Rider, I assumed because his trigger's on damage. So if the attack deals damage, after the attack is resolved, the character gains the Incinerate special roll. So I was like, okay, well, that one obviously. But like, let's, as an example, name somebody who applies it. So I was like, okay, well, Scarlet Witch. Does Scarlet Witch get hers through if she dazes the person? After this attack is resolved, for each failure in the roll, apply one of the following negative effects. It's like, no. It's like, son of a bitch, we've been playing this wrong the entire time.
Wow.
Let's try...
Stagger's the one that matters.
Yeah, I can't search by Stagger, so who does Stagger? Let's do Black Dwarf.
Luke Cage.
First Black Dwarf. Black Dwarf says, Stagger after this attack is resolved. Luke Cage...
After this attack is resolved.
Double Wild after this attack is resolved. Are we noticing a trend here that we've been cheating this entire time, or rather hurting ourselves?
So
yeah, we've been playing this wrong the entirety of the game.
So field dressing is much better than we thought.
Yeah, and this is 100% on us for just not actually paying attention to the exact wording on negative effects, because we always just assumed they happened on the resolve wild section of the attack, which is like before damage is resolved. But we're wrong. We just assumed, like, we never bothered to read it.
So now I'm trying to find an example that's not after the attack is resolved.
Right. So what about Baron Zemo?
Well, 99% of the time it doesn't matter. It's just that, like you say, field dressing kind of
right.
thing.
It only matters if they have something that undazes the character, which is really just field dressing. God, I'm trying to think of something. Ooh, Venom. Because he doesn't trigger on dice abilities. After his attack is resolved, gains power. After attack is resolved, character gains bleed. Nope. I can't think of a single one that gets through daze.
Yeah. Wow. So this, if you daze somebody and give them a condition, it doesn't actually give them the condition. That is such a big deal for field dressing. Because how many times have I been in a game? Oh, so many times I've been in a game where I was looking at... I would have
field dressed so I wasn't staggered and shocked and stunned.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I'm not field dressing now. It's dumb. I'm just going to let these conditions fall off. But they weren't on him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool. So that was one I knew everybody was going to enjoy.
Interesting.
Now for the one that made me incandescently mad with anger. So this came up in a game I played yesterday with Richard. Apparently, you are allowed to move to any point of the maneuver tool. So when you start an advance, you must lock it into your base, right? Like both prongs have to touch your round base.
Yeah.
And so you have to be locked into a little crescent. You do not have to be anywhere specifically on any other point of the template. So if you have the stick, you could put your round base on the side of the stick anywhere, including touching one of the two prongs off on an angle.
What?
And not only is this like rules as written, it has been clarified to be correct on the forum.
You don't have to fit it. I understand how you might have to, like, you could touch your base to the side of the stick. That makes sense. But you don't have to fit it into the other side?
Nope, only when you start the move, not at the end.
Huh.
And I guess the reason that they decided to let people do this is because the wording involved to say you could stop short, but not... It's because how would you word it to say that you have to be centered on the template at the end, but not before the end? Like, it's just, it's convoluted wording at that point, and I think they just said the extra movement you're gaining is kind of, like, null. But the thing that really gets me is, like, if you're going around a corner and you're trying to not climb, like, you bend the template around a corner, it just barely peeks out the other side, you can tuck them then around the corner in a position that you could never lock the base into.
Right.
And that was what really set me off. And so you can do these like double turns on a normal maneuver tool that only bends once. And that really upset me at the moment. And so I thought that was incredibly frustrating. I was like, that is just exactly the kind of thing I don't want to deal with in like rules lawyering crap. But I the wording involved to prevent it from happening, I agree, is probably a bit much. But they could have just said you have to lock in on both sides, and it would have been easier.
Yeah.
Never thought
but
of
anyway,
it.
Yeah, so now you guys know you get like an extra like 1/8 inch of movement if you just go middle to corner every time you move.
Yeah, that would have saved my bacon a couple times, a couple games.
Right. And that combined with the fact that not all of the bases are the exact same size, if people at home don't know. Like, for example, the Dormammu textured base, it's got like the rune on it, is like about 1/8 of an inch smaller than the actual large bases they make.
Yeah.
It just came out of the mold slightly smaller. I don't know if it shrunk or something, but yeah, it's quite annoying because, you know, if you put your guy on the cool looking base, you're slower. And now if you're not abusing the rule mechanics, you're slower than everybody else. And it's yeah. The main thing that really upsets me is it encourages like sloppy play. It's like, oh well, you weren't locked in. It's like, oh, I don't got to be locked in. I'm like, think you do.
Yeah, it's also like, I don't know if I like that because it's going to make me feel like I should be pushing it to the edge every single time when I don't need to.
I've always imagined that the tool you can kind of get to anywhere anyway, so it doesn't really change much.
Yeah. Very rarely does that little amount of movement really change anything.
Right.
But it is interesting.
Unless you're fucking Crossbones, then it matters a lot.
He'll take anything.
Yeah. He's like, I need every fraction of an inch I can get. Alrighty. So anyway, that's from the forums today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed.
That was good.
It's a whole lot of trash.
Trash man.
So we're now going to transition into our main topic, which is experiences in the new meta review. We went to a tournament that we had at the Geekery over the weekend. At least me and Parker did. Jeremy stayed home and cried about it because he's a little loser person.
Still crying.
Still crying. So anyway, first round. So I took my Life Everlasting Dormammu list, which is basically just everyone who is impossible to kill, and then make them more impossible to kill with impossibleness. So it's Thanos with the Mind and Space Stone, Dormammu, Ghost Rider, Lockjaw, Ultron, Black Cat, Toad, and Luke Cage. I think that's it. I can't remember anybody else on the list. Anyway, I think that's it. So anyway, the point of the list is you play Dormammu and Ghost Rider generally in most of your games, and then you just basically try and never let anybody die, because you have like Ultron with Age of Ultron, you have Lockjaw with Last Minute Save, you have Dormammu with Dark Restoration, or
yeah, that's it. Dark Restoration.
Yeah, Dark Restoration, and then obviously Ghost Rider is Deal with the Devil, and so you can do fun stuff like you deal with the Devil to Luke Cage, and then you Dark Restoration to bring him back in the end phase. And so basically you end every game with your whole roster is the kind of the idea, and you will eventually outlast most opponents or outplay most opponents to the end game. Unfortunately, round one, I played a real asshole, like, dipshit player that just diced the shit out of me. He literally had no skill. He was just rolling, like, 9 hits on 4 dice every fucking attack. I think his name was Parker.
Yeah, big friend of the podcast.
Yeah, big friend of the podcast. No, but really, we had a pretty good game. I found a alternate option for my list in that game. I played Black Cat, Toad, Lockjaw, Dormammu, Luke Cage. I had Luke Cage in that list. And so we played Legacy Virus Cured. And so first action, I think it was either Dormammu or Luke Cage moved up, took a point. Parker went, moved up, took a point. Lockjaw activates, places Black Cat towards Gamora, who had picked up a point. And then I walked up, and then he dimensional watchdogged her because he has 5 power in the Dormammu list, because that's fun. And so then Black Cat walks up, hits her with 5 dice, gets another power, and steals her objective, which was totally funny and not broken.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next turn, I have priority because I'm playing Dormammu. She double moves long back to Toad, who claims her objective after he has already claimed Dormammu's objective, because he gets 2 power a turn. And so I have 2 Legacy Cures on Toad, who proceeds to literally run screaming away from his entire list with double move hop every turn. I think I was very close to being able to get all three. I think I was. Black Cat was dazed by my leadership, Flames the Faltine, in the power phase, and if that doesn't happen, I get all three on Toad.
Yep.
It was going to be interesting, but it would have been fun.
You got two characters in that game got 1 damage on them from something random. One of them was the Flames of Faltine, and the other was it a bleed? I think it was
Gamma.
A bleed.
We were playing Gamma.
Oh, that's right. It was Gamma. Gamma did 1 damage and dropped him. Yeah, I was helped out a bunch by 1 damage random things.
The dice. I rolled absolutely terrible on defense dice. My attack dice were fine, but I blanked out on like 11 consecutive defense rolls. Yeah. Keep in mind, I'm playing Luke Cage and Dormammu and like characters that should not be blanking out, and I did not roll a single defense for like 3 rounds. And so that just made it extra hard. It was actually a really close game. I think we ended like 15-17 or something. It was super close.
Yeah.
That was including a Dark Restoration because I got Luke Cage to come back to life. And I played every Tactics card I had, I think. It just didn't get there for me, unfortunately. But it was super fun. In my next game, all my other games went really well for me. Trying to remember. I played Hammers for the first time against Nathan, who was a great opponent. He was playing Guardians as well, but he was playing Hammers, as were the Cherai citizens, and Dormammu just gets Hammers, so the game ends. Like, I had Ghost Rider and Dormammu, both characters are super broken on that mission, because he basically is just delivering me points. So yeah, Dormammu got 3 hammers, so he's throwing an 11 dice incantation of obliteration every turn that can, trigger Dark Miasma and attack again. And then if he ever gets dazed, Ghost Rider just picks up all 3 of them and becomes an unstoppable nightmare machine. It was really bad. I don't think Drax made an attack. Ronan attacked once and got pushed out of the game by Dormammu as a reactive ability. His best character was actually Star-Lord. Star-Lord almost kept him in the game for a bit, but eventually ran out of gas. Let's see. Next game was I played against Inhumans. I had some bad luck with dice in this game too, but it wasn't like absolutely terrible. Basically, my opponent was playing Inhumans. I left Black Bolt on 1 hit point twice, and that included a 8 dice attack while he was incinerated and hexed. With 1 defense dice. He's incinerated and hexed versus my 8 dice attack and took 0 damage. I was quite upset about that one. And then because of that, Black Bolt gets to activate with like max power and hit a 3-person beam attack that rolled no less than 9 damage on all 3 attacks. But it didn't matter because I literally ended the game with all my characters in play. He killed Ultron twice. Didn't matter. He dazed him, killed him, came back to full. He dazed and KO'd Ghost Rider, and he dazed and KO'd and dazed Luke Cage, and all my characters were alive at the end of the game. Anyway, those were my 3 games. I had fun. I think Dormammu is not competitive, but he is fun, and he's not bad. So I think you need to be aware of what he can do, and don't get caught out on missions. The only competitive side to him I see is really that he gets the extra power and he can leverage that in some scenarios. So if your opponent is bringing Dormammu lists, be cautious of I guess you can't pick your missions anymore, but be cautious of what you let them set up. If you know they have priority, you need to be very aggressive about going and getting neutral points. You don't need to pick up your point first. You need to go get one of the ones that's close to them. Because if you leave the middle ones out, they can do weird stuff like Ghost Rider picks up 2 points. And that's not something you want to happen because you'll never catch him. And so stuff like that. You just need to be cautious of the tricks he can do. Dormammu as a character, I think, is subpar. His leadership is good, though. So Parker, how did your event go?
I played Guardians, as alluded to by Brandon and I's game 1. And my purpose was to play Guardians that were new. So I every round... Yeah, every round I played almost exactly the same list myself, which was Star-Lord, Rocket, Groot, Ghost Rider, Gamora, and then it had to be some other character that changed a little bit depending upon points. And I purposely wanted to see if new Gamora did anything. And first round, When against Brandon, I honestly felt like I was helped by his defense dice a lot, and it was really close. I just barely got things. One of the main things was I had Nebula in that game, and Nebula and Gamora and Ghost Rider were really good chasers, so I could actually go get Black Cat and Toad while they were doing their thing. If I didn't have really effective chasers like that, I don't think I could have gotten the points I needed to win that game.
I do want to jump in here. He's definitely correct. Him having Gamora and Nebula and Ghost Rider was the only reason he was able to stay in this game. If he didn't have all 3 chasers, I would have been able to win on points.
Right.
I literally sent Toad on a lap around the table with Lockjaw and everything. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But also, I want to point out, he was not wrong that my defense dice helped him. Toad was in cover and blocked 0.
Yeah.
Toad was in cover, rolled 3 skulls and died.
Yep.
Because he didn't even get to use cover.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
My second game was against man, I'm blanking on my second game. My second game was...
You played Richard, right?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, it was Richard. My second game was against Richard. And Richard was playing Midnight Suns and Defenders, and he just chose to do Midnight Suns, and he did a lot of misplays. My heart goes out to him. He was trying to play a bunch of new rules that he never played before and handle them all simultaneously.
Second game with Midnight Suns.
Yeah. He was really. There were a bunch of triggers that he missed that were really key moments. Like a Ghost Rider, he didn't give his Ghost Rider hardly any power. Which I also did my first game with the new Ghost Rider. I missed like 5 power, but it didn't matter in our game. In the second round, it mattered a lot. If he would have been constantly feeding his Ghost Rider power like he should have, then he would have been able to do a lot more. His Ghost Rider was starved, whereas mine was always full of power, doing whatever he wanted. He decided to... I played the same Guardians list pretty much, exactly the same one as I did with Brandon, and he thought he could man up and play a bunch of big characters. So it was Doctor Strange, Ghost Rider, Blade, and Sinister. And so he was going to see if he could get really big and go into it. And he was going to try to beat me up, and it didn't work at all. Everything just got turned over really fast. It just went downhill. I didn't get fantastic dice. He didn't have the worst dice ever, but it was really just he was trying to do damage to kind of all my Guardians at the same time, and it wasn't good enough. Also, he tried to pin down Groot early to see if we could just remove him, and he didn't get him down. He flipped him on the first turn, which is great. With 2 dice rolls, he flipped Groot over, and then for the rest of the game, he could only do like 2 damage to Groot at a time, which can't kill Groot. And so Groot just stayed there, kept doing his thing. The second game was a win there, and then the game 3 was against Web Warriors. And I was a little nervous. I played the Legacy Virus Cures and the Extremis consoles. And really early game, he put Okoye on one of the Extremis consoles on the center line, and Rocket and Nebula just ate her instantly, just immediately got her off the point, and Groot scored that first turn. Gamora went up early and into the center of the board to pick up the Legacy Virus in the middle, and so using Gwen, Spider-Man, and Venom, he tried to like pull her off of the middle to go to attack her, and he managed to do it. He did like 1 or 2 attacks on her with every character and was able to pull her off, but she just didn't die. Because she had stealth, he had to move, and so he wasn't able to get as many attacks. And Web Warriors just don't have fantastic attacks, and he didn't roll great rolls. He just had like 2 dice, 2 hits and 3 hits, and Gamora just blocked enough. I think she did like 2 damage, and of that 2 damage, she ended up doing her martial bit on Gwen and did 2 damage to Gwen because she whiffed the attack. So it didn't work out very well for him. He started the second turn with priority, tried to get Gamora, and she did the martial prowess again, did 2 more damage to Gwen, and so he's like, and that's
you're getting exceedingly lucky on dice in this story.
Well, I was rolling 5, and he, like I said, he just wasn't getting great dice. His offense was rolling like 2 or 3, and I was defending like 2 or 3. with 5 dice.
That's very good rolls on 5 dice.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 5 versus 5, the attack dice should win like 80% of the time.
Yeah, it was. I got excellent I got excellent dice with Gamora. Gamora got to activate, flipped Spider-Man and Gwen, and then Rocket got a hold of Venom and just ate Venom alive. Venom wasn't able to do anything. Okoye folded, and I was up on points the entire game. I just rode 2 to 3 points ahead the entire game until the end. He tried a last-ditch effort with Quicksilver to try to do something crazy and take all 3 Legacy Cures, but it didn't work out. And
yeah, I think Perrin just kind of got into quicksand. Like he made 1 or 2 mistakes early, and then kept trying to fix them by making more mistakes, which I do sometimes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, obviously, that doesn't work. Like you just keep digging yourself a bigger hole.
Kudos to Perrin though. He was, he had a really good time, and he didn't get frustrated by the lack of ability to take down Gamora. I don't blame Gamora for being particularly hard to damage, but her abilities just managed to interact in that game in a really negative way for him. The final game was so I won that game. So I was 3-0. So I went to the final round against Kenny, is his name, from St. Joe.
Yes.
And it was he basically did a masterclass on New Hulk. I've never played against the Hulk before, and we happened to play against 2 battle box scenarios. It was the extremist, not the extremist, the power cubes, and the one that gives you a power for standing on it. I can't remember the name of that one.
Infinity Formula.
And so he was playing Guardians
Lots
also.
of power.
He was actually playing an identical list to mine, only instead of me, I was using Gamora and Ghost Rider, and he used Drax and Hulk. And so early in the game, I was like, okay, well, I think I can actually send Gamora to the middle point again to pick it up. And so I did. And then Hulk hulked me, and I had never went up against this before. When you go against characters you never see before, you get caught in traps, and he gotcha'd me really hard by Hulk. Gamma leapt and moved once to be next to Gamora, backhanded her with the reroll from Winging It, did exactly 3 damage, so he could then throw her behind him, because you can ignore yourself when you throw. And so he threw Gamora behind him, and then Gamora was stuck next to Rocket and Groot and went down eventually. It was actually a little bit harder because she's stealth now. Rocket had to maneuver in order to get it, but eventually they were able to get her down. And basically the game went really far downhill from there. His Hulk only rolled like 6 or more damage every time he rolled. And he rolled like 2 attacks a turn. And I never defended. He threw a bunch of characters. I don't think I ever got a dodge roll the whole game. So he definitely had the advantage from the very beginning, because I've never played either of those scenarios, nor have I played against the Hulk. So he had a huge tactical advantage, and then his dice gave me no room to breathe. So I needed some sort of lucky break, and I never got one, really. So I managed to get down his Hulk with Ghost Rider eventually, but it was too late. There was nothing I could do about it. Even once I got Hulk down, he'd already had a huge lead from me just desperately trying to stay in the game. So my new meta comment is Guardians are the new Guardians are strong. I don't think they're great. I don't think the balances push them to like some sort of level that is unconquerable. I do think there are a couple big quality of life changes for them. The Winging It thing is cool, but the real thing is Rocket and Groot. Groot getting the ability to a bodyguard for Rocket at range 2 is so big. There were so many moments when Groot was within one of a center point, and Rocket was able to reach his gun so far away from that point and still be supporting each other. It was so difficult to avoid Rocket's gaze, and he was still benefiting from Groot being there. It's so much easier to set up their buddy tactics card where he shoots 3 people. And the fact that Groot now has the range 3 attack means he actually always has power 2 besides that. It was very, very strong. Rocket and Groot are much, much better now. I think Star-Lord is marginally better. I think Winging It's just a little bit better than it was before, but Rocket and Groot are so much better. It makes me wonder, actually, after I was done, I wasn't super excited to play Guardians again, but I was excited to play Rocket and Groot again. I wondered where Rocket and Groot could go, if there were other places they could go besides Guardians. I don't know.
They go everywhere. They're a good package.
It's 2 character slots, though.
I don't like that now Rocket is the one that stands in front. I think that's really stupid. Like, I think the mechanic of that is really dumb. But
yeah. What it meant is with the way he works now, he is completely front and center, because you can't throw things through him to Groot and try to hurt him with throws, and he could be so far away from Groot. Range 2 from Groot is so far away.
Yeah, I think it's really silly that he's immune to throws. I think that's a big mistake, but whatever. It's clearly what they wanted.
Yeah. My new meta comment is Hulk is really, really good. Actually, I think what Kenny's idea to put Hulk in Guardians is great, because the one problem with Hulk is if you drop him in a faction he doesn't belong to, is he's 6 points, which is difficult. Also, he needs like 1 reroll a turn. He probably doesn't need 2, but getting 1 is great, especially on like that opening turn if he wants to do the whole thing he did to me, which is Gamma Leap and throw somebody behind him to take that point. He's a big bruiser that can also control characters as long as he is continuing to do damage with his builder. Having the power in his builder is so big. A faction like Guardians doubles down on that new advantage. So, looking back on it, Ghost Rider is great, but and not a bad choice for Guardians. But Hulk is superb. I really liked that look.
Yeah, I think Hulk's going to find his way into a lot of lists nowadays. I think like him and Lockjaw specifically are actually going to see a lot of play, because Lockjaw will just set him up by getting him into position and marking somebody for him.
Mm-hmm. So you guys played a bunch of games. Let me ask you this. The big change that really is like the big deal in my mind that has changed a lot is the crisis selection thing. How did that feel? You guys feel anything about that?
I absolutely hate it. It feels just as punishing as I thought it would. There was a lot of games where my opponent got locked into really stupid matchups against me. And that part of that is because the meta hasn't adjusted to like the danger of playing an aggressive or restrictive scenario like in open play right now. And so, because people are just so used to, well, I'll just never play Gamma against somebody that's playing a beat 'em up list. But nobody has adjusted their rosters for it, so they still have it in there. And it's like, well, because if I play somebody that's worse at it than me, I'll play it. And you're like, but that's not an option anymore. You're either the apex best at something, so you play it, or you're not, you don't. You play the boring missions. And so I think in about a month, people will get adjusted, and then we'll see nothing but like core set missions. It's going to be incredibly boring.
How did you feel, Parker? Did it change your game?
One of the things when I showed Brandon what I was even bringing for this list, he would immediately go, "Why are you playing those missions?" Because I went exactly the thing that happened that I said would happen on the podcast, which is I don't even know what the missions are good for right now anyway. Like it was already it was already functionally random choice, because when I brought 3 missions to the game, there are some really obvious ones, right? Like if I'm playing criminals, I'm not going to do the station, right? Because they give no benefit for that. Like, so really, really obvious ones I was able to... I
think you mean sword base.
Sword base. Sorry, sword base.
They like research station.
Yeah, not research station, sword base. But like, the really obvious ones, like sword base and criminals, I was like, okay, I won't take this. But everything else was quite the crapshoot, and I did not understand.
Yeah, so he's playing Guardians Go Wide, basically, and he chose Gamma Wave into Dormammu.
Well, it got chosen for me, but yeah.
It got chosen for you, right? But that was the reason I was so far ahead on points, I think.
Yeah.
If it had gone differently, I don't know.
To be fair, Gamma Wave ended up helping me win the game because I got to the back points because you had to leave them in order to run away.
Well, also, like, those 2 people randomly evaporated to, like, 3 dice attacks. So, if they had actually lived, then it would have been, I think, a lot different.
Yeah.
But yeah. Obviously, things played out in a way that ended up favoring you. So, it didn't completely screw you.
But but things like that, like I think the random game mechanic will be completely invisible to people who are just starting the game, or like me, I don't know how many games I've played, but I still haven't seen every scenario. I went to that tournament, and the final round, I was in the final round of a tournament playing 2 scenarios I had never seen before. That's what this game is like. Where I haven't seen everything. I haven't got to the
problem I think that you run into is you've only played like 3 lists really like regularly. And those lists were very obvious in the missions they wanted to play, so you haven't put a lot of thought into the list selection part of, or the scenario part of list selection, and like which missions you want to take.
Man, I wish I could say that. I stared when I built the Avengers list, and I probably stared at the missions for 4 hours, just staring at them, all of them out on the board, and just looking at them and wondering what to do. I wasted a lot of an evening. It would have been were you to come down to my basement that day, you would like, what are you doing? Are you just staring at those cards? Those like 16 cards? So, yep. How long have you been doing that? About 4 hours. We're like, why? Because because right now that's,
you got to play them. You can't just look at it and determine.
Precisely.
You need experience. Yeah.
So
that's the thing. You haven't, because you started after we had more dynamic missions than the core set.
Yeah.
You never really played them because other people had played them for a year. You were everyone's so excited to play other stuff that nobody ever really went back to them.
Right. So I think I played Legacy Virus Cures like 7 times. I think I've played the Sword Base like maybe 10 times. Like I played those two so much, and I hadn't ever played Cubes or the Cosmic the Power one, or whatever
Infinity Formula.
Infinity Formula. I had never played those before, and I know those are super basic, but now after I play them, I'm like, oh, okay, so this is what you have to do to play this one. But I had never even tried those before, so I need to see them. And even with Sword Base, I just feel like I'm just now getting a good idea of how to play Sword Base after seeing it so many times.
Yeah.
So I guess to answer your question about like what does the new random selection do, I think for people like you guys that have played every scenario 10 times, I think you're going to be probably really miffed by it because you're going to feel like a lot of your agency is being taken away. But for everyone else in the tournament who hasn't done that, everyone else was like, cool, random mission, cool. Like, whatever. We'll play that, I guess.
Yeah, I think if you go to a game and you just like, and you look at the 2 cards you get to pick from, you're like, I don't know, and you just like point to the one that has the point holder you like, yeah, it's probably not going to affect you a whole lot.
Right.
But at the same time, anyone who's putting actual thought into it is going to be very upset. And just because you don't understand how something is punishing you doesn't mean you're not getting punished by it.
True.
Because you're more than likely your opponent is good. If you take the time to listen to this podcast, I expect you put at least some thought into your mission selection. And so I think that you should be upset. But that's my opinion. I totally respect you if you don't agree with me. But that's my opinion.
I think at the end of the day, though, even if 2 players are the same skill set and one person sees the missions and knows kind of the better ones, the better crisis for what they're trying to do, and the other player is just like, well, I like hammers because I roll more dice. I think at the end of the day, it's probably only like a 5% difference. I mean, and of course, that's just a gut feeling percentage, but I don't think it's that big. I mean, you get your dice swings, you get everything else. It is an advantage, but I don't think it's the end all be all.
I don't.
Go ahead.
The thing that upsets me is not the game balance perspective. It's not that like so and so faction is advantaged in this current state because you have less agency over the mission selection. It's more that I think the fun of the game is going down, because if you're playing missions that you don't want to play because they're your only option to not get taken advantage of, I think that is negative for the game. And I think it will be less fun to go back to basically playing the core set missions every single time you play the game. And it's like you basically just took the mission pool from like 12 each to 6 each at best. And 3 of those are probably only if you're playing one of 5 factions.
There is one thing actually that I will say that I did notice. And I thought about this looking back at X-Force, because I love X-Force, and I was staring at him again after I played Guardians. And the fact that if I get my mission, I don't get to choose the points, that actually does matter for certain factions. And this was, like, I was thinking about like X-Force. Like, X-Force loves playing 19 points. They love playing 19 points. One of the reasons why I've had such a great experience with them up to this point is that I've always had 19 points. And You've
always had priority.
Right. Because I had priority. And so I went, I have priority, I'm going to pick my pile that has 2 19-pointers in it, and now I'm going to have 19 points, because I can guarantee both. Yeah. And so
that 100% needed to be stopped.
Yes.
That was way too powerful.
Right.
I'm very glad they gave the point total choice to the second player.
No, I like that. But what it means for me as talking about like the meta thing is it means that the amount of points I'm going to play is entirely up in the air, and I'm much better off having or being ready with my list to be able to do lots of different point values, because even if I get the missions that I like, my opponent can just choose a different point value that they brought. It's entirely random, and so any faction that really, really, really wants to play a certain point value, I think is going to be slightly disadvantaged, and they're going to feel that disadvantage more often. That being said, I'm sure there are ways to play X-Force without having 19 points exactly. And the fact that I just haven't had to. The fact that I just haven't had to yet is just a luxury that I probably could overcome by doing something important to the game and learning and expanding. So
that's why I'm so annoyed with the random selection, because I feel like the change of who selects point total was such an elegant change, because it didn't only remove the power from priority somewhat, it also made it to where choosing missions solely based on what point total they bring to the game is no longer a thing. Like, you don't do that anymore. Now it's about what missions we're playing. And I know there were lists out there that are like, it doesn't matter, pick the 18-pointer. It's like, but I don't want to play hammers. Doesn't matter, pick the 18-pointer. Your list needs to play 18. And that kind of took the fun out of mission selection for me, because it felt like the mission was irrelevant, because all that mattered was that you had priority. So you're going to force your pre-constructed list down their throat. And now winning priority just means you're getting priority, and you're going to pick what color you want. But your opponent choosing the point total means that you're going to choose what mission your army works best on, even if it's not the best point total for them, which feels much more like it was originally intended to be. It feels like the missions now actually matter and weren't just placeholders with numbers on them. And then they do the random selection thing, and I'm like, okay, well, that is the exact opposite of the other change, where I think it takes fun away from the game instead of adding fun back to the game.
Here's another thing, Jeremy, that I think will matter a lot, is that if your opponent is trying to brawl you, that was a lot easier to make happen for sure before. I think brawling is a lot less consistent now. And what's really funny then is also, if you for some reason just get screwed into brawling, you need to have some brawling option, because the opposite is true. Because before, if I got priority, I was like, okay, I have priority, I'm not brawling this game. Well, now it's I don't know what's going to happen. If your opponent's playing some brawling missions, they might get what they want, and then I have to be able to brawl, because this could get really impossible for me really fast. So it made me think about list selection and missions after I played a bunch of 4 games in a row under this new scenario, and I got to play a pretty wide variety. It made me think about it. But again, all I can do is think about it and wonder, because I don't actually know anything. Just wonder. Yeah. I wonder.
Jeremy, I liked your question. I think that got my creative juices going a bit. You played some games, even though you didn't come to the tournament because you hate playing this game.
I don't hate the game. I hate you.
Okay.
It's personal. It's not business.
So much so that you keep flying to Chicago just to get further away from me.
Absolutely.
All right. So how was your experience under the new rules?
It actually went really good. We both, me and Dan, played 2 affiliations we'd never played before. He wanted to get Parker's Blade on the table. I can say it.
Yeah. And by the way, I caught Parker saying Blade earlier. He was up to 832. I don't know if you thought you snuck it by me, Parker.
Oh, shit. That's too bad. That really is too bad.
You were referring to Richard's Blade character. You said Blade.
Oh, damn.
Oh, gotcha.
He got it. He gets it when it's his model, but when it's somebody else's, he slips up.
So he wanted to do that, and he had the new Ghost Rider on the table. I wanted to play X-Force and do I'm going to attack you more times than should be legal. So I had Sabretooth and Venom and that sort of deal. And we played on a table that he always posts a ton of pictures. And it had, I'm going to say 300 points worth of terrain. Like, there was everything everywhere. Like, it was insane. But it really made it fun. And
oh, wow. I didn't realize that you could do the reroll on your opponent's turn. That's actually pretty clever. Yeah.
So,
I like that.
And I also wanted to get Zemo in there. I couldn't get him in there, and I wanted to get a human. Now that I've thought about it, I want to do Inhumans as well, because they can do it, like an Inhuman model. Anyway, it gets pretty bonkers. But the mission selection, and it's funny because Dan is exactly like Parker is saying. Dan's like, I don't know what it fucking does anyway, so who cares? And me, on the other hand, I was like, well, I do know what it does, and I know what I don't want. So,
yeah.
But after we shuffled it up, and there was so much terrain on the table, like, it really was pretty irrelevant. Like, it really wouldn't have mattered regardless of what we did, because the table was in the way. So we had to...
I think the game is much better on a dense table.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people play with way too little terrain.
Yeah, it worked out really cool. We beat each other to death, and it was super fun. I liked all the new rules. Ghost Rider was crazy. Ghost Rider was just like drilling me from turn 1 all the way until I killed him the second goddamn time. Like, but I didn't mind the whole thing, and it felt very good that I lost priority, but I got to pick the point total. I didn't care what the crises were because I got to pick the points, and that felt really nice. What I do like, though, now thinking about it, is the idea of I'm going to take all of my secures and make those high points. And I'm going to take all of my extracts and make those low points. That way, I can do something. I can do something. So, anyway, that's...
Well, I was just going to say, if the meta evolves to the point where, like, red becomes the go-to selection...
Mm-hmm.
If for priority, then you can just put in, like, okay, well, I'll just put in the counterpoint totals for my blues.
Yes. Yeah,
and so there's a little bit of thought process there, but it's a fraction of what there was.
Correct. But it's something. And it does feel pretty good to be able to do something. I would even lean towards, I think not having priority is the strongest play right now. I think that's where it's at. If there is someone winning, it's that.
Yeah. I wonder if it was another attempt to nerf priority again. Like, well, if they don't get to actually pick a mission, and it could have been, if they had said, priority is a choice now, not a roll. If you win the roll, you choose who has priority, and you could give it away to somebody. And then they said the person with priority doesn't pick point total and doesn't pick mission. They flip one at random. Second player gets to pick between two. I would have been fine with that.
Yeah.
Because that way, it makes it much harder to abuse things when you don't have priority. And so it's okay for that player to select a mission. And it would give you a reason to go second. Like, it would actual choice to go second. It's like, oh, okay, I'm going to go second. You can have priority. You're going to flip a random mission. I'm going to choose the point total. I get to pick my mission 1 out of 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have been better.
It's in a funky place, but... Yeah. I personally don't mind it, at least not so far. I'm sure it'll punish me at some point.
It hasn't been like apocalyptically bad, but I'm less worried about the bad matchups that are going to happen. I'm more worried about how boring it's going to get when everyone starts playing the same goddamn missions. It's like, these are the 3 missions that the 5 best factions abuse the least. Welcome to the game. And you're like, this is going to be these 3 missions every time you're not playing like the top lists. And then the top lists are going to play those missions and one other mission.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of TTS Season 7 and also Las Vegas Open. Both of those are going to be the telltale signs of what's going to happen.
Yeah. I want to talk to... I've been meaning to. I've just been too busy. I was chatting with the guy who's running the LVO stuff, and we also need to check if the waitlist has been expanded or not. Did you sign up for the waitlist, Jeremy?
I have not. There's a ton of stuff going on, Marvel Crisis related, so I'm not overly worried about it. They've got like that buy-in cash thing where you can buy your list and play 3 games.
But they have a limited number of... It's not like an event ticket thing. You buy a MCP pass, and they're out of those passes.
Oh, really?
So you cannot play in MCP events unless they expand the size. And he's going to use the wait list as argument to expand the number of players they're allowing. So you need to sign up so they will increase the number of allowed MCP players.
Do you have to buy a ticket to sign up, though?
No, it's just a sign up sheet.
It's just
you say, I want to come to LVO and play MCP. That's all it is.
Okay.
You just put your name on it. Okay. I linked it in the thing. Anyway, one quick thing I did want to bring up now that we're talking about nerfs and stuff. I actually am starting to think that they banned All You've Got just so they didn't have to answer rules questions about order of activation when you end your activation and when your turn ends. because half of the shit on the rules forum when I was looking was just, when can you do this card? When can you do that card? And it always comes down to all you've got, because it happens after you gain the activated token. And with the way the game is right now, you gain the activated token when your turn is over. And so functionally, it does not work. And so I think they banned it just so they wouldn't have a conflict. Obviously, it was a really good card and probably worth banning anyway, but I wonder if that put them over the edge. And they were like, maybe we'll ban it. And they're like, no, we're banning it because of all these rules problems it causes. Because you can't play it until your turn ends. And once your turn is ended, you can't play it. Or rather, you would be activating a character outside of your own turn, which would be very complicated. It was just funny. I'm wondering if it's going to be like drop off and they're going to bring back a pseudo, like, all you've got card that just has different wording and timing. Like, maybe you have to play it at the start of your activation, so you can't, like, get the information of how well you do with your first activation. And maybe it'll just remove you from play so you can't be resurrected and stuff. But anyway, I saw that. I thought it was funny. All right, are you guys... You got anything else you guys want to talk about? I think we've pretty much got everything.
I'm good.
All right. Well, anyway, this has been Brandon.
And Dr. Mantis Toboggan, MD.
Jeremy, this has been
at
me.
MySpace / stillgotit.com.
Thank you. Hit like.
Yeah. And hopefully you enjoyed the episode, guys. This has been Pineapple.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.
So, did Parker tell you why his audio was deleted last time?
Because he was drunk?
No, it wasn't because he was drunk.
What happened?
That would have been more excusable.
Did you fall asleep on the keyboard?
No.
That would have been slightly more excusable.
Okay, what'd you do?
Remember when I got up to my ridiculously long cord?
Oh, God.
When I got up to get it, it pulled out for just a split second, and it, like, cut it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so Parker unplugged his headset while we were recording, which paused his recording.
Oh, no. Wow.
And which is why it only recorded 11 minutes.
But now I have it set up so I have 3 screens. The reason why is I had, like, multiple screens.
Yeah, I couldn't see it.
So I couldn't see my Audacity. So
now
now
here, I'm going to share my screen so Jeremy can see, because I don't think he's done this. He's seen my screen before. So this is one of my monitors. And so one of my monitors has the OBS in the bottom right, which is the backup recording. That's recording all the audio going through my computer in different channels. The top right's obviously Audacity. That's my private channel. And then the Discord's on the left so I can see what you guys are doing.
Yeah, okay.
So that's how I have one of my monitors set up, and the other monitors all like material and stuff we're going through.
Yeah, well, I don't have all that, so you guys are awesome.
Well, I would just recommend that you have Audacity and Discord visible, or at least you should be able to see Audacity to make sure your recording keeps going. Because if something happens to Audacity and it's in the background, you won't know you stopped recording.
Yeah.
Which, if the backup fails, means we lose the episode. So, and the backup has failed before. We just never happens to matter because we don't need it.
Yeah, I get you.
We want to be really safe. All 3 of us could be running backup recordings, but that's not going to happen, I take it. Because Jeremy would have to learn how to do, anything other than, Reddit.
I don't even know how to do Reddit, so don't even... That again seems like... That seems like a forum.
Jeremy thinks a forum is where you go to yell at people.
Is that a forum?
Person.
Is that... I think we're talking about forums right now.
Yeah, like when you're arguing over the price of your car at the dealership, that's a forum.
I thought he meant he thinks the traditional Roman forum with the columns and you walk through it and you
everything is either a chat room or Facebook. That's all I know about. And sometimes
how do I
MySpace.
use these AOL CDs? I have an entire closet full of these AOL CDs.
You are technically the one closest to having an AOL CD with that stupid Hotmail address you use.
I've explained this before.
Yeah,
I have
I
a
know.
Hotmail, but also my Gmail is a Hotmail account because I typed it. They let you type in the post, and so I typed in @Hotmail because I wanted it to match.
What's always funny is someone at work, I'll get a new employee or whatever, and I'm like, okay, what's your email address? They'll say like something, yahoo.com. I'm like, you're fucking with me now, right?
Yahoo is still pretty popular. Like,
there's
Yahoo accounts.
reasonable amount of people that have it. Well, it's unreasonable.
But like Gmail's the most common now, right?
Yeah. I mean, basically everyone has Gmail for their social life and Outlook, some sort of Outlook that's attached to their corporate, whatever the job is.
That is precisely correct. Yep.
That's basically like adult shit right there.
Microsoft has all the corporate accounts on lockdown for some reason.
Basically, yes.
They probably just blackmail. It's like we're not gonna let you use Windows unless you fucking use Outlook, and they're like, oh no.
Yeah, I mean, really, it seems to me that Outlook is how they're not being pulled apart by the government saying that that's a monopoly or some shit. Like, there's nothing else in the world, I don't think, that people use.
Yeah,
I think Google is. I think Google is also out there. Like,
is it?
A lot of schools now use like the student side. They use like exclusively Google stuff. The teachers still have Outlook like accounts, but every building I've been in for a long time, the students only use Google based stuff because their data is so huge. So they can hold all the stuff students ever make.
Yeah, that whole side of it really kind of exploded with COVID, right? Like, everything went online, and everything is like accessible now.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. As soon when I went to the district I'm in 5 years ago, like the second question I asked them was, "Do you have one-to-one computers?" And they at the interview, they're like, "Yes." I go, "Then I will only teach a paperless classroom from now on. Paperless purely. I will never ever touch a piece of paper again if I can possibly help it." My favorite thing about my classroom is every year I get pencils, like boxes of pencils, brought into my room from like the kids that bring them to school and stuff as part of the beginning of the school list. And I have 5,000 fucking pencils now because I don't use any of them. And so when my students know, like, if they lose a pencil or something, they can come get them from me because I have infinite pencils. And a lot of teachers run out after the first 2 months, and I still have infinite pencils because I do not use them in my classroom ever.
Interesting.
And I love it so much. Oh my god, I love it so much. You have never fucking hauled like shit until you haul all of a student's like project work from your classroom to your car, and you have to make like 4 fucking trips because of how many fucking papers they turn in. Oh, it's just so obnoxious.
Yeah.
But now I'm just like point and click. How mid times did I pull out a piece of paper and I was like, I don't know who the fuck this is? Like thousands of papers with no names on them. Thousands of papers.
You just guess as best you can.
Yeah.
Or it's like you just do all the ones you can identify, and you're like,
right.
Well, I have 4. They're all D's. Fuck it.
Yeah, who knows?
Like I don't care whose it is.
But now, like, that's impossible. Like, but I love it sometimes when a student says, "No, I think I turned that in," and I go, "No, you didn't," and they go, "Well, I think I did." I go, "No. It's not possible. Like, it's not possible. You either clicked the button or you did not click the button." And they go, "I think it just didn't save." I go, "Nope. Not possible."
Also, no.
It's Google. If you had connection to the internet, if it lets you type on the document, it was saving automatically. You are lying.
Like, you are a goddamn liar.
And they know it. Like, they don't, some kids try that, but after a couple seconds, I was like, "Nope, it's not physically possible. That's not actually possible." And they go, "I think there was a glitch." I go, "Nope, not a thing. Glitches are not a thing. I believe you that you took all the keys off your keyboard and rearranged them to not be a QWERTY keyboard anymore, and now you can't tell what the hell is going on. That I believe, you little weirdo. But no, you did not. You did turn it in, or you did not turn it in. Google says so."
Yeah.
I'm psyched about some tailgating. What are we going to eat?
I don't know. What are you making?
Last time was super good. Don't ask
You're
me.
the professional browner.
It's true. That's true. I mean, all I got last time was the hot dogs and stuff. It wasn't that exciting.
Yeah, it's not complicated. It's just tailgate food.
I'll bring out like 4 raw racks of ribs and an entire like raw like pot roast. All right, guys, let's get this going.
Can we dig a hole through this parking lot and make a smoke pit?
Exactly.
I heard we have experience.
We need to ruin an entire fucking
pig.
hog in this.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Can we ruin an entire pig in 3 hours? I think we can.
I'm pretty sure you could.
Yep.
In fact, literally doing nothing ruins it.
Uh-huh.
We have a tiny little fucking camp stove thing and a giant hog on top of it, just smoldering in one point.
Slowly rotating.
All right, who wants a part of this barbecue?
It's just the nose is starting to turn black, and the rest of it's like obviously still completely raw.
This is going to be fine. This is going to be great.
We're going to eat it after the game.
It's a slow cook.
Yeah. Low and slow, that's what it is. It's fucking 50 degrees. It's not cooking at all. This is basically chilling. Like it's not doing anything. Oh boy.
It better not rain on us again. That's all I care about. That was awful.
That was great.
I don't know. I kind
of sucks we lost that game.
I don't know. I kind of enjoyed fading in and out of consciousness while hiding underneath that concrete.
We kept trying to sell your body to people who would come by.
Yeah.
How much is this guy worth right here?
If I would have woken up without a kidney, I would not have been surprised.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt.
Did you really want to wake up in a bathtub full of ice? Would that made you feel any better?
No, I don't know. It might have been warmer. Although
it was quite chilly, I believe is the term.
Yeah.
The temperature looks pretty good. It's going to be like 50,
What's it going to be?
57 as a high. That's not terrible. That's good.
Until the freak hailstorm happens.
The sideways rain.
Yeah. Man, that was it was so much worse because they delayed the game, and I get there was lightning, but holy shit, we literally stood there for like an hour and a half in the rain and the wind, waiting for the game to start again.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. And then to lose. to just get a fucking shit pushed in. Here you go.
I'm pretty excited. Chiefs are playing pretty well finally.
Yeah.
The defense went from like literally the worst ever to one of the best in the league in like 4 weeks. Yeah. Obviously, it's not super sustainable, but I'm curious to see how it goes.
I'm super psyched to hear what the guys have to say about it. This game coming up, I need to learn my Always Sunny. I got to get my Always Sunny in Kingdom. I see. I got to get it. I keep checking it. I don't know what day they put that out.
It's usually Thursday night.
All right.
So tomorrow.
They better not let me down. I'm ready.
Let me look. See what the National Weather Service has to say. I'm curious.
Didn't we just check the weather though?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did? I missed it.
It's like 57. He said
57 high, but the low is 27. Let's hope that low doesn't hit around 7:30. That's fucking cold.
It's gonna be a night game. Yeah, it's gonna get cold fast.
It does say mostly sunny, partly cloudy, so it's not going to be.
I check the weather at like 10 p.m. though. Don't check it. Can you do hours?
Not to Sunday right now. National Weather Service only has temperature ranges and like sunny, cloudy.
Hopefully the 57 isn't like 6 a.m.
Okay, so you guys know Connor, right? I know Parker does.
Derp.
Yes, I know him.
Jeremy, you know Connor?
I know him, yes.
Yeah, so he just messaged me. He apparently just turned on Always Sunny for the first time ever.
Oh, man, that poor kid.
He's like, I'm watching episode 1 and it hurts.
Yep. Oh, that poor kid. You fucked him up.
Episode 1, do you remember episode 1, Jeremy?
I don't.
The gang gets racist.
It's been so long, I can't even imagine what that's even about.
That's when Dee brings her acting friend that's black to the bar, and then he tries to like fill it with all the college kids. It's a good one.
I don't remember the first season very much because of No Frank.
Yeah. Apparently, the first 2 episodes they shot like privately, separate from the network before they got picked up because they did it as like a 2-episode pilot. And they got paid $300 total for the first 2 episodes.
Oh, God.
They had a lot of confidence in that one.
Mm-hmm. I'm waiting for that new podcast that's coming out with all of them talking about every episode. That's going to be awesome.
that sounds like it could be good. It's just like lightning in a bottle. I don't know what it is about that show. I love dark humor, so obviously it's right up my alley, but it's just so magical. And people that say it's just offensive and don't like it, I don't think they understand that that's why it's funny. Like, that's why they're joking about it. Like they're drawing attention to the elements of human nature that are the worst.
They understand what they are, and that's what makes it great. They're not trying to be
and the best part is
different.
that no point do they ever try to make themselves out to be the good guys. They make themselves out to be the dregs of society that nobody will associate with.
Yep, there's no redeeming qualities to be found. They're just
Charlie is like the only one that could be the hero of the story, and even he is like massive pit holes of a human. Like,
well, the only thing that said, like, the reason that you can say that is because he's so stupid. Like, that's the only way
he's innocent, right? Like, he's not doing it maliciously.
Right,
no,
he's the
stupid.
innocent. Yeah.
He's doing his best. Like, that's his best.
I watched an interview with Glenn Howerton. He was talking about how his favorite parts of the show is when Charlie's the straight man. And he's like, he's the one telling people, you gotta stop. Like, because that's like, once you know Charlie, that's the point of no return. If Charlie's like, I don't know about this, guys. Like, we're about to commit murder. Like, maybe we should stop. And they're like, no, it'll be fine. Like, that's the point where it's like, okay, we're going over the deep end. Oh, man. Parker, we got some brain teasers for you this episode. I'm going to put this in, what'll be a good one? I have a whole bunch of from the forums today. We have hobby projects, is probably going to be pretty slim. Main topic, event review. We'll do new meta review. Trying a new position of my mic, and so it's harder to type because my mic is between me and my keyboard now. What if I can do this? Can you guys hear me okay still?
Yep.
I can hear you so much.
Better or worse?
I can hear you so much.
I can hear you all the way.
Is it better or worse than before?
I didn't actually notice much of a change, so.
Okay.
It's as sultry as it was, if not more.
Like crushed velvet.
Is it steamy? All right. Ooh, I have a wild speculation corner.
Oh, God.
Ooh, I know. We'll do Daily Bugle. Is this season 5, Jeremy?
What, season 5? No.
So
season 6.
4? 6?
6.
They're just making seasons up now.
No, it's 6. It's weird. It's strange because they're finishing up with the old rules. So I can't. I'm just like, that's weird.
Yeah, I understand the logic behind it.
Oh, sure. They did that at the World Team Championship several times, where shit would change, and you're less like, you're stuck with it, or random change.
Alrighty, I'm ready to get into it. Are you guys ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
Sure.
Okay, I have a post-ramble topic of Hawkeye. We'll talk about that later.
The show?
I haven't seen the show, so. Then
we will speculate. I think Hawkeye's going to be in it. All right.
Spoiler, he's in it.
Spoilers.
I thought it should be the gang tricks Parker as many times as they can.
We can trick you and it be pineapple.
That's true.
Fine.
That's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, we got. God, that was so good when we got you with that fucking thing.
The Avengers one was really good.
Yeah,
the
pizza pineapple
one
thing,
fine.
Jeremy had to try real hard for.
You didn't
name. You were gonna get roasted if you actually bet episodes on that though, because you didn't name anchovies as the worst pizza topping.
Oh, I thought you guys were seriously. When you guys enter that kind of thing, I assume it's bullshit. I assume it's a trick.
Okay.
So I thought
you shouldn't have bet
surely
anything,
it's not anchovies. That was
you're like
way obvious.
3-card Monty. Let me put some money on this.
Yeah.
You're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
No, but the betting on the Avengers one, that was 100% legit. I didn't think you were gonna get it, But man, we railroaded you hard in that one.
Yeah.
And I even paused and asked you, "Are you sure you don't want to name the same faction more than once?" But I never mentioned Avengers on purpose.
Yeah. Yep.
I thought that was
that was funny. That made me laugh a lot.
that was. I haven't laughed that hard in a while.
Okay, so you wanted to talk about something because I do have work in the morning tomorrow.
I was just going to talk about the Hawkeye show, but if you haven't seen it, that's fine. So instead, we'll talk about something I have seen more of, which is Dexter New Blood. I watched all of the available episodes on Showtime. It's so good!
Is it? I haven't watched all the rest of them.
It's so good,
okay.
Parker.
I do like me some Dexter.
Someone told me they thought it was only going to be one season. I got so sad. I was like, wait, it's going to go away? I like this show so much. Yeah, I'm very excited. It's shaping up to be very good.
Good. That's one of those shows that you root for because like what a great idea, what a great like cast. This was a really good thing, and then it just.
Where do I sign up for this thing?
It's that I posted the link in the
I got
podcast.
the link.
Yeah, you just click the link and then you do what it says.
Yeah, it's not
hard.
I was like,
no. So I have to register?
You just have to make an account, I think. I don't know.
No, you don't have to make an account. You just use your
Parker
Google
did.
profile.
You just put your name in. It's like name and email.
That's it's just your name and your email. That's all.
Yeah, and then they email you when space opens up. You don't need a MySpace account.
No. You don't even need a Google Chrome account. You just...
Do I need a MySpace?
How many MySpaces do I need?
Where's the chat room?
Jesus Christ, Jeremy.
Oh my God.
Anyway. I have some good news. I found the memory card that was missing.
Oh yeah?
Oh.
Yeah, so we have at least one game from the St. Louis tournament that I can post. My shirt was vigorously removed from me at one point, and I lost it. And so it was recently found.
Waitlist. Okay, here we go.
Did you finally click the link, and then it said, please type your name and email?
No, I had to ask a wizard.
It's asking for my social. Like, what have you done? Stop clicking buttons.
I have Venmo'd a lot of cash.
Yeah. I just gave them my credit cards. They asked for the numbers. I just put them in an envelope and mailed them to them.
No, I didn't. I took a picture of the front and back of my credit card, as you do.
Are you sure it wasn't a charcoal etching?
Charcoal etching. Okay. I did.
Parker, I told Jeremy about this beforehand, but I am going to give you a stroke. Are you ready? I got some zingers.
Oh.
Oh, fudge.
Jeremy, this one's for you.
Yeah, okay.
Why did the Scarecrow win an award?
I don't know.
Because he was outstanding in his field.
God damn, that's a two-part.
I like that one a whole bunch.
That's fucking solid.
I like that one a whole bunch.
Fucking got him. Parker, this one's for you. What is blue but not so heavy? Light blue, motherfucker.
Damn. That's good. That's
yeah.
good.
I'm going to save these other two for next week. I think one of them is very lowbrow, and the other one is going to get Jeremy real good when he's not thinking about it. So I'm calling my shot. I'm like the babe.
I told my girlfriend the joke about the Tyson thing and the religion, and to get punched in the face, and she goes, "Did you just make fun of a speech impediment?"
Yeah.
I'm like, God damn it.
I don't know, man. That's a red flag right there. That's like putting the toilet paper in backwards. Like, just run. Just get away.
I don't. Oh, man.
Beards, not mullets.
So apparently, yeah, I'm a bad guy. So whatever.
Yeah.
I knew that.
Just tell her the Scandinavian folk song one.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I mean, she probably wouldn't get it if she never played Mortal Kombat.
No.
Yeah.
Did you go see Ghostbusters?
Parker?
I've not seen Ghostbusters, no.
I liked it a lot.
Very good.
I don't get to see movies unless I move heaven and earth. So the last time we did that was...
It's a kid movie for girls.
Yeah, maybe a kid movie for girls. Actually, I don't know. Like, my youngest couldn't handle it. I'm sure she couldn't handle, like, sitting in a theater for the entire time. She's still too young. 4 years old, they're still, like, bored. And...
Yeah, it wasn't short. It felt reasonably long. I liked it. I thought it was a lot like Force Awakens, but a little bit better. They did all the fan service stuff they needed to do. Yep. I wasn't a massive fan of how it ended, but the middle and beginning of the movie were so good that it was hard to mess it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was good. Good writing and all that. Like, it was better than the girl one. I'll give it that.
Oh, God.
I also love me some Paul Rudd. I have a hard time. Yeah. He has a hard time doing wrong.
It's a lot like Stranger Things. The kids steal the show.
Yeah,
correct. I'll give it. Yep.
Like the adult acting is good too, but the kids just steal it.
Yeah, I believe that.
I was actually surprised because the one kid is from Stranger Things, but the girl was amazing. I don't know if she's from anything else. I don't remember seeing her in anything else. She was awesome. Anyway, though, Parker's got to go to Betty Bye to get up and do his worky works. So,
yes.
I guess we're gonna get out of here.
Let's do it.
You guys ready?
Yup.